cleaners. That's the best Scottish you're going to get out of me all day. But yeah, there we are. It's me, the 1AJ, Anthony Jordan.
Was I 42nd? Was I them gonna war? Was I 42nd marching to the Brumley Law?
Guess what we've been watching all week? Oh.
It's been hard. It's been fucking hard, man.
There was a part of me that was going to say, does Drew McIntyre taking place in War Games count as a Survivor Series? Because boy, I could have done with, I could have done, yeah. It was tough. It was tough. It was fun, but it was, it was.
You mentioned Drew McIntyre because that song I was just singing is called "Whatsaw the 42nd" or "Whatsaw the 42nd," which is a song that Ives and McDonald sing in The Great Escape. It's funny you mentioned Drew because the next line of that song is "Some of them had boots and stockings."
There we go. Yeah, so guys, this is because at this time of recording, and for everyone on Live Squad, this is if you're listening to it the next day, you are listening to it on St. Andrew's Day, which is a fitting moment for the Silver Screen Leagues to do top 10 Scottish movies. And of course, it's to honour our platinum viewer / listener 001 himself, Mr. Gavin Mann. So yeah, it's
001, he's a wee man. I made something just for him. AJ, check this out. I
love it. I'll absolutely love it.
Have a bit of tartan and the flag. You see, even the outline of our boxes, I did it in tartan just for you, Gavin.
Banging. Absolute banging.
I did want to do like a full-on Scottish movie intro, and then I thought, wait, I didn't do one for St. Patrick's Day. That would be racist.
Yeah. The lines always get blurred into what you can and can't do. Like, not in a bad way, but you do one thing, you don't do another. People are like, preference. There's no preference.
There is no
mutual appreciation across the board.
Freedom.
I love it. Very nice.
This has been a very, very interesting list, I have to say. Of the many lists we've done in recent times, this one in particular has required me to edutain myself more than any of recent memory. Like, as I've said to you before, because of my existing like obsession with movies, I can go into most top 10 lists and kind of like fill 6 in automatically, and then watch the 4. I could fill in 10 on some of them, but I'll always be like, I'll put my 6 in, then I'll watch another 4, see how they rank, and if I have time, try and throw a few more in there. This one, I was like, okay, so I have 3 or 4. I need to watch 6 movies here, and then some.
Oh, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 films.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I've said it time and time again. Like, my passion for film is one thing, my viewing of films was another. And it's not to say blagging, but in the early stages of it, it was a kind of, I know about this film and we could get away with it. The passion of film, like, don't get me wrong, passion for film has always made me want to learn more. And that's what I've always loved about this pod. This one was tough as hell. And I'm not going to lie, the thumbnail gives it away. There's one that when I put it on the list, I was like, this is really a fucking Silver Screen favorite this season. And I was like, that cannot be the only 2 Scottish films I know. I know more. And that was the thing.
I knew 4. As I said, so I wasn't that much ahead of you on this one. I had to really do some digging.
What bugged me as well, and this is the truth, and like anyone, Gavin, like, don't feel guilty about it. It's the way it is. It's just St. Andrew's Day clashes with the busiest time in hospitality. So when you are an events manager, like I've been doing extra hours on my days. I've been going in on days off, and I'm like, I have films to watch. Please just give me a fucking break. And in between that, like, the missus has had a birthday party. I'm like, oh God, like just you know what are normally free gaps? They just weren't free gaps. And yeah, sometimes I'll tell you what though. This could be the first time I could say I've done Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, and BritBox.
And AJ Vision.
Yeah, there was a tad. Let's not lie. Yeah, I mean, AJ. What's an episode of the movie Mount Rushmore without AJ Vision? But what I will say to some people, and I'm not saying it works all the time, but one of the blessings you can get with BritBox. This was the one time I could call silver linings. There was one film I was watching. It was on 4 on demand, and I looked at it and I saw the poster saying like film 4, and I was like, hold on, BritBox is the channel owned by BBC, ITV, and Channel 4. I was actually able to watch it without the interruption of the Freevee advert, which was such a flipping blessing. Such a blessing.
Right. Yeah, it's by the way, have you seen the big, before we get into Scottish movies, have you seen the big news that's happened at Disney?
Is it the one I sent you?
I knew, yes, so it is that one. Yes.
Yeah.
The fuck clown.
Bob is gone and Bob is back.
I told you. I said it. I've been saying it for nearly 6 months. He's got to go. He gone. Now, interestingly, Big Papa Iger has come back to Disney. So everyone's like, his first call of business, Kathleen Kennedy is about to be out of a job. The great overseer of Star Wars is about to be removed. It's interesting. I have mixed feelings.
Here's the thing. So, like, after episode 9, I've not done anything Star Wars TV series, right? I can just about do the Disney ones. And what I will say is based on I'm going to call it the nucleus around me, the appreciation for the shows are like Mandalorian and the rest. So if the overseer is gone because you're delivering average, then maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing. What I will say, though, and I'm not having a dig, here's the defense. I believe that Disney are over-reliant on IPs at the moment. Like,
AJ, water is wet.
I know, but I'm just saying that's what I'm getting at. You're not wrong, bro. You are not wrong. I'm just acknowledging.
That's literally what they do.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is if you've got it, milk it. I don't say no. But it's literally it's like they're just finding every angle, literally every possible corner to give you a TV series. And
She-Hulk, a derivative character where we get to tick the diversity box. It's like, alternatively, just no, hear me now. Crazy idea, just make a good show.
Yeah.
Crazy idea, but it just might work.
Yeah, and I feel
female does not make it good. Black character does not make it good. Good writing makes it good. Good directing makes it good. Actors and genders, and
it worked in the breakdown of what you were doing.
Creeds do not fucking make or break a show. Case in point, the black female character from Obi-Wan. Some dumb motherfuckers online are being like, oh, you see, look what happens when you do the diversity box ticking to show shit. I'm like, nah, man, that could have been a white male. The character still would have sucked.
Character sucked.
That's the point I'm making. It doesn't fucking matter. That's why, I think it's stupid on Disney's part to be going down the we must box tick wokeism route. But equally, the fans are stupid for being like, this is what happens when you do that. It's like, no. Both are incorrect.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
It's because of bad fucking writing. It's not.
Here's the thing, though. The wokeism, and I've not seen it yet, but to your credit, you has made them look out for certain areas and representing certain fields. Case in point being Miss Marvel. Again, not seen it, but I believe you've seen it. And my sister also came back to me and was like, "This is actually really good."
It's good.
And this is the thing. So sometimes it doesn't hurt. Eternals. Eternals was another one. Which
really liked Eternals.
They really split the. It felt box ticking, but it was nice to see representation in all the different.
Well, I'll tell you fucking what. In the scope of the movies we've had in Phase 4, Eternals is one of my preferred ones.
You might not be wrong, you know.
Like Black Panther, I would argue is the top. But if you gave me the choice to watch Eternals or Thor: Love and Thunder again, crazy thing, I'd pick Eternals any day.
You might not be wrong.
Tell me a movie that was better. Shang-Chi, I can take it or leave it. Black Widow, not interested. Fucking She-Hulk and Moon Knight and all that. Get the fuck out of my face. Like, no. Eternals was one of the best movies of Phase 4.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
People were so quick to shit on it because it was literally coming off the back of Endgame.
This is the problem.
But like,
it's very hard to follow.
Phase 4 as a whole, Eternals was a good film.
Yeah.
It was a slow burn meditation on humankind.
Listen, my argument remains the same.
Thinky.
My argument remains the same as to what we needed, these ultimate powerful beings, the ones who are so powerful they wouldn't interfere in what Thanos was for. And when you see what they were fighting, you're like, really? But that's just the angle they chose. But aside from that, it wasn't a bad film.
It really wasn't. I really enjoyed the Eternals, and I look forward to seeing them return. In other news, Papa Iger's other big thing, Blade, getting a page 1 rewrite.
Wow.
That's how bad this project was. New director, page 1 rewrite, with writers approved by Mahershala Ali.
Well, that helps. It helps for the subject to be comfortable with what they're portraying.
I mean, brother, we joke about Harrison Ford being in a Zimmer frame for Indiana Jones 5. Mahershala Ali is not going to be far behind by the time this Blade movie comes along.
This is listen, the excitement's always been there, but the timing felt a bit wrong. Do you know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. Like, Father Time's not exactly on his side.
Billy Mount, I see your comment. I enjoyed Moon Knight up until the finale. I thought the penultimate episode was fucking sensational, and then the finale went all wrong. But as a show, I liked what they did. But if you know the Moon Knight comic, wasn't Moon Knight. But again, that's never put me off if someone wants to put a spin on shows. But would I rate Moon Knight in the same pantheon as Eternals and Black Panther 2? Hell no. But yeah, so that shit's happened at Disney. What other big movie news has happened that I can think of? Zaslav over at DC continues to drop the sword and slay, doing what I said he would do. I think that's kind of it. The biggest thing was Chapek losing his job. Did you get anything nice for Black Friday? Let's talk shopping and then we'll talk Scotland.
I did not get a damn thing. I'm not here to lie. The UK's in the cost of living crisis. AJ is surviving, and that's what put a smile on my face. The only thing I'll tell you what happened
from that PS Plus membership I told you about.
I've already paid for it. Do you know what? I saw it. I've already paid for it. When
you buy it, it stacks.
It renews. Yeah, I left it. I'll be honest with you. What also bugged me was, as you know, last week. Come again?
Money thrown away.
Last week, as you remember, your wire's gone.
Sake. Hello.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, the internet problem continues. And last night, I found that Virgin were doing a Black Friday deal, and it just would not load. It just wouldn't load for everything in that final 45 minutes of it being Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So that was the one deal I was going to get, and I didn't get. So it was into Vodafone today, just buying one of those wireless dongles. But yeah, no, nothing special for me this time. They've got the PS5 joypad, so that was fun. But yeah.
Oh, you got the DualSense? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, nothing.
I'm not gonna lie, I had a pretty good fucking October and November, so I thought I'm gonna splurge a bit. That month in Florida actually came in useful.
Nice. Nice.
I'm getting a new chair. Have you heard of a company called Secret Lab? They make very good stuff. Yes. Mega chair. It's arriving.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Frankly, this leather thing that I'm sitting on now, if I have to go through another summer of putting my ass on leather,
sorry.
Bro, do you know what happens to leather in the summer? You schwitz.
I'm aware.
Blair. No. Fabric, which is actually technically cheaper than leather, but
it is. Trust me, I saw that one.
Francis unboxing video. Maybe. Got myself a new pinky ring because I like my rings. I think I bagged some cheap games and I got. Oh, these are cool. Actually, you'll appreciate this as an audio man. Check these out. This is pretty sweet. So, you know how sometimes with wireless microphones, most of the time they're shit unless you go with like the Rode Wireless, which are like close to 300 quid. These little things I found called Holyander, right?
Nice.
Literally come in a charge box. What's cool about them, normally you need to have you get, your one transmitter, and that works with one receiver, and then you have a different set for a different receiver. One transmitter, two receivers. So you can have two people linked up to one little transmitter. It's literally out the box, clip it onto the camera, the other one clips onto the person, and it goes. It syncs perfectly.
That's a beauty.
120 quid. I was like, I'll have that. Down
Nice.
from 220. I was like, that's a deal. I'll take that.
Nice. Well played.
Makes recording videos and shit for global underwater explorers much easier instead of having to rig up all the wiring. But yeah, I got some cool shit. All on the cheap, because believe me, that cost of living crisis, I hear you, brother. Who do we have in the house today? Francis Lalonde is here. Richard J. Skarenki is here. Hello to both of you. Gavin Mann, of course, is here. Great to see you, Gavin. And Gavin says, I'm thankful for you taking Renton off my screen. In case you didn't see the thumbnail, it was Renton having a shite in Trainspotting.
Oh, what? Did you change it?
Huh?
Did you change it?
No, it's just... No, but if they're...
on the holding screen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Who else is here? Billy Mount obviously is here. Den the Tech is here. My LA buddy. What up, Den? Glad to have you here, brother. Jen is back. Hey, all. How have you guys made the Scottish links? Should be interesting. Ha! You shall stay tuned and find out, Jen. By the way, massive shout out to Jen, who very much feeling in the festive season, bought us 10 coffees last week. And given that she's very new to the show, I thought I was very touched by that. Billy Mount, of course, is here, who says, why is this happening? Will there some Ewan McGregor, Peter Capaldi, or David Tennant movies be on the list? Yes. Stay tuned.
Tennant just missed it, actually.
No Tennant for me, but definitely some Ewan. Pedro Santos is here. Opa. Great to have you here, Pedro. Who else have we got? Gavin, Pedro, Francis, Billy. I think that's it for the crowd tonight. Okay, cool. That works for me. We've got our little core film family. I'd love to see Mixed Memorabilia and Andy Hart come back at some point. Haven't seen you guys for a while. Chris Trengove, of course, obviously. But if you guys are listening, Pod Squad, shout out to you guys. We mentioned coffee a moment ago, guys. If you are new or if you are regulars to the show, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you like the content we bring you, you can head on over to buymeacoffee.com/movie dudes, and literally for less than the price of your weekly Starbucks, you can support the channel on a level that you feel comfortable with, starting at £2, as I said, less than your Starbucks. There's no expectation. If you can support us, great. We hear the cost of living crisis. Anything you can send is appreciated, and that money will be reinvested into the show to purchase new streaming software so that we can make the streams better for you. We're not just pocketing it, I promise. A just mentioned Pod Squad, VOD Squad, yada, yada, yada. If you're joining us live, your live squad. If you're watching us on YouTube after the video is aired, hashtag shout out to all the Pod Squad members out there. I see you. I'm Nico from the past, speaking to Pod Squad from the VOD Squad from the future. How are you? And if you are Pod Squad, hello. You've been with us for the longest, 5 seasons in now. Great to have you guys all here as always. We haven't done this for a while. Do we have any new countries on our Pod Squad who have joined our film family?
Doing that. Shout out to August, Arsenal Fan TV, and also Frank Torres. It's been a while since I've seen Frank live, actually. But
yeah,
showed some love on the ministry page as well. So, bit of love to everyone there. And apologies to everyone we haven't met. Oh, St. Jackie.
St. Jackie G. Yeah, she's. I know what's going on with her. It's not for me to share you. But Jackie's busy at the moment. But Jackie, if you are listening, thinking of you, sending our love your way, girl. Right. So who have we got? Funnily enough, the United Arab Emirates are our fourth most listened to country now. AJ.
Nice.
So that they've shot up. India still accounts for by far our biggest demographic. I would love to see some of our Indian listeners in the live squad at some point, guys. You can join us every single Tuesday, 9 p.m. on Silver Screen Dudes on YouTube. Come and join us. We'd love to see you there. UK and US stay strong. Australia stay strong. Botswana are now one of our followers, AJ. Nice. Canada's there. Switzerland's there. France there. Hungary, Mexico, Netherlands, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey have joined the family too. So if you are in Saudi Arabia or Turkey, big shout out to you guys. Thank you for being part of our weird little film family. Now that that's all out the way, shall we talk some movies?
Yeah. Aye.
Hey, talk some weird movies. And yes, Billy Mount, I did hear about James Gunn running DC. I think it is a very, very, very good thing.
Yeah, we brought that up a couple of weeks back, no?
Yeah. It's a very good thing. Right, cool. So let's get into this, AJ.
Right. Before we do, would you like to tell everyone what the Movie Mount Rushmore is all about?
Yes, sir. So for those of you joining us for the first time, and for those of you who have heard this a million times, it's basically a top 10 movie show between two best friends from school. Here's how the show works. AJ and I each get assigned a topic. This week, it's shout out to Gavin, our platinum fan, Gavin at Gavin Man's page on Twitter. Please do go and follow him. And our topic this week, which we're going to talk about in a moment, breaks down this way. We get assigned a topic, we go our separate ways, we do a lot of studying for this topic, and we come back and deliver to you, the film family, the Silver Screen Dudes, our individual top 10s. This week, I get the pleasure of going first, delivering my bottom three. AJ will then deliver his bottom three. I will deliver my next two. AJ will deliver his next two. Then we will trade one apiece. If at any time while we are rounding off our individual top 10 lists, one person has a movie in a higher position, that person will say,
Hunt.
and we will punt and talk about that movie when we get to the high position. And once we have both rounded off our individual top 10 lists, we will create the Movie Mount Rushmore. These are the 4 quintessential diverse must-see movies of the genre, which this week is...
Top 10 Scottish movies. Right, now, after we have done that, once we have created the 4 must-see movies of the particular genre, it gets even more challenging because it heads on over to you, the screeners, to crown the ultimate best of the best of the best. So, with honors, El Capitan, El Numero Uno, and of course, to quote very fittingly, Highlander, there can only be one. So, last week, our topic was...
Best movie set on a plane.
And our contenders were...
Air Force One, Top Gun Maverick, Doctor Strangelove, and Con Air. This was close.
Just because I'm an arse. Doctor Strangelove at number 4.
No, sir.
Yeah. Sick. Connor.
No, sir.
All right. Air Force One.
Yes, sir. Air Force One came in at 4th with 15%. 1-5.
Damn. I actually thought I was going to be the stealer. I really
Me
did.
too.
So we've got Air Force One. No, we've got Con Air. Oh, and Top Gun. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh. Has the world gone Nico? What? I'm going to think they may have on this. Right. Doctor Strangelove at number 3.
Nope.
Okay, maybe they haven't gone your way. Then I will say Top Gun Maverick.
Nope.
Con Air.
Yeah. Con Air came in at 3rd with 24%. The world knows.
Thank you. Okay, that helps a lot. Doctor Strangelove in at number 2.
Doctor Strangelove in at number 2 with 25%. And in at number 1 with 36%, literally smashing everyone, was Top Gun Maverick.
You know that one where I just thought, if I say Strangelove again, I'm going to look like a Strangelove hater. So I kind of hesitated, but I thought it's probably the way to want. Okay. Tom does it again.
Francis Lalonde, Scottish film. Austin Powers 2, The Spy Who Shagged Me. He weighs a metric ton. His name? Fat Bastard. Yes.
Yeah, so I personally, before we go into it, I've tried to keep it actually as based in Scotland as possible. It's not, I've tried to avoid the reaches, so no, you're not going to hear me say, well, did you know Hogwarts is based in Scotland?
No. So that would be a reach, definitely. I think for my list, what I've done...
Is it really though?
It's a reach.
Okay.
I would call that reach. But I would also listen to the argument to see how you articulated it. And based on your articulation, I would then either approve
Again, it's not in there, but it's a categoric fact that Hogwarts isn't.
I would choose to acquiesce to your request. Means no.
I mean, it's an actual fact that the school is in Scotland. You can't deny where it's at.
You can't deny it. This is going to be a fun episode. Jesus.
I'm so sorry, Gavin. So sorry.
Sorry. Right. We have been quite liberal. Oh, this is good. Liberal with what constitutes a Scottish movie. It could be, as AJ said, set in Scotland, a Scottish story, but not necessarily made by a Scottish auteur. A Scottish filmmaker, not necessarily setting a film in Scotland. All of the above mixed up in different ways. Scottish movies. If you can argue it, I'll listen. And I've got to start arguing first, because in at number 10 for me is William Shakespeare's The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Well, I never got around to seeing this.
It's interesting. So I actually missed it when it first came out, despite my huge interest for seeing it, because, it's got my goddess, Frances McDormand in it. And of course, our guy Denzel. And it's, directed by Joel Cohen. We've agreed the Coen brothers can be a bit hit and miss. When they get it right, they get it very right. Here's something which look, it's the fucking story of Macbeth. If you've read Shakespeare, I'm not about to tell you anything new here. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble and all that, yeah? It's the Scottish lord who, through, to quote Big Tone, shout out to you, nefarious means, becomes the king. And the witches help him, and his wife is doing sweet nothings in his ear to make him do evils, and shit hits the fan, is the most Shakespearean way of describing Shakespeare ever. Here's something I never thought I would fucking say. Denzel Washington was miscast. I couldn't believe Frances McDormand was fire. And yes, I'm a mark for Frances. But Frances McDormand playing Lady Macbeth, come on. Fucking Leo Getz from bloody Lethal Weapon over here. Come on. Obviously, it was going to be good. Denzel was miscast in this movie. He was good, but I was very aware that I was watching Denzel Washington. At no point did I buy him as Macbeth. Clearly, we found a gear that Denzel doesn't do, and it's Shakespeare.
Listen, he done that other one. Was it Much Ado About Nothing?
Much Ado About Nothing, which I didn't care much for either.
Listen, I've not seen it, so I can't really go into it too much. But I'm going to call the glaringly obvious. Yeah,
it's not because he's black.
No, but it bugs me. It bugs me.
Spoke the black guy. Carry on.
Yeah, we need to get that out as well for anyone on Pod Squad. It bugs me, right? There is a time and a place for everything. Now, I find it very hard to embrace that something set in an era where the black man was not embraced by most other nations, I have to accept this person portraying a king. It's also like a TV series that's out there. I think you got Mary Queen of Scots and it's a black guy. And I'm like, can we stop this, please? Like, let's just be real. No. There are some stuff. If you want to argue Bond can be black, whatever.
No.
Listen, but you've got more chance of arguing that for me, even though the lineage makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But for me to historically accept that anywhere outside of Africa during those years, in the Outer Hebrides over there, we had a black king. Until I've heard otherwise, I really can't take it on. I can't. It bugs me.
That's fair. And there's going to be some people out there going, you're the type of black person who's part of the problem. You just know that shit's going to be online somewhere.
I'm sorry. Am I denying blacks were kings? Hell no. But just not there. Like
Wakanda forever.
I did not say that. Fictional land, I did not say. Said the white man.
It was there. I had to do it.
No, it really does. I'm like, come on. There was some stuff we're just not meant to accept, It's like if on season 5 of The Crown, Prince William turns out to be played by Idris Elba. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We all know this doesn't make sense. No, there we go. We're going to laugh at that, but we're meant to accept that Denzel Washington's like that.
Well, do you know what I mean? Just putting that out there, but
yeah, but you get
yours is a lot funnier. There's no doubt. But it's interesting because you can tell that Denzel has committed to this role. Like at no point did I think he was phoning it in. This isn't like a phoned-in performance. He's really going for it. It didn't cross well for me. The thing that really stood out, aside from Frances McDormand, about this movie, fuck me, the cinematography is beautiful. Like it's all black and white. So, when you've got high contrast monochrome, any shot that's well lit is going to go pow. And my God, does it look good, man. Like for the cinematography alone, this movie's worth the price of admission. It's an interesting watch. Very slow burn. Like very, very, very slow burn. And Denzel, which I've never said before, like I love the man. His performance didn't help me with this film.
What platform? Where's it out?
Apple TV.
The one subscription I've not been able to commit to just yet.
AJ Vision.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I wish I could comment. I've made my comment quite early on as to what I believe will be a problem, but it was something I did want to see, so I'm still open to seeing what it will deliver for me.
Pedro Sancto says something to add. I think my favorite Macbeth adaptation is Roman Polanski's, and I also prefer Wells to the Coen one. Yeah, and then goes on to say nothing about the Coen's Macbeth was quote unquote realistic, so casting different races was absolutely fine for me. Francis Lolondo says, I'm with the black man.
Thank you.
In at number 9 for me. So until I watched some of the more recent movies, this was higher, and it just by proxy got pushed down. This is a fun fucking movie. Like, I had a blast with this. And AJ, it's one for you because it's a true story. It's the Stone. Oh, sorry, I'm putting the in now. Stone of Destiny.
Cool. Okay.
It has Robert Carlyle. It has Billy Boyd, who I haven't seen for donkeys. Billy Boyd, who you will all know as Pippin from Lord of the Rings. Peregrine Took. And a pre-fame Charlie Cox, a.k.a. Daredevil, like young, bro. This came out in 2008, and he's still, even then, he's super charming. Kate Mara is also in it. Like, it's a really, really fun story. And because of the way the movie ends, I'm not revealing the actual ending for you here, but there's like a text that they have at the end, which I can reveal. It won't actually give away anything. It made the movie really resonate with me because it's very relevant to, King Charles ascending to the throne. So in Scotland, I didn't know about this, and this movie impacted me enough that I went and researched this, and I was like, oh no shit, this is not only did this actually happen, but all that shit's true. Cool. There is something in Westminster Abbey called the Stone of Destiny. It's from Scotland, right? And it's underneath the throne which the new monarchs get anointed on.
Ah, interesting.
The reason they have that is to show, much to the Scottish people's dismay, as I'm sure Gavin Mann can confirm, is that the symbolism there is that the King of England sits atop Scotland as well. Kind of fucked up. So back in the 1950s, and you have that's a key thing to remember. 1950s, you have to remember the shit they did in this movie could not be done now. Technology would have fucked them. But given the technological limitations then, this actually played out. And I was like, the fact that these guys wanted to do this is insanity to me. This group of university students, I believe St. Andrews University, all decide, fuck the English. I want to get the stone back. And they create this. It's very basic. Like, we're not talking about an Ocean's 11 level of heist here. They devise a plot to break into Westminster Abbey and steal back the fucking stone.
I'm actually loving the concept of this film.
Bro, it's great. And the fact that this shit happened made me go, but what's so charming about it? The plot is so fucking paper thin and basic. And it's not like I don't mean the plot of the movie. I mean the actual plot that these thieves devised. The plot that these thieves devised, the idea, the heist is so
real life plot. The real life plot, yeah.
It's like, it was so basic, but that was kind of like, yeah, so why wouldn't it work? Sure. And it wasn't one of those plots that's like, oh, well, we need this person to be in this place at this specific time, and we hope that shit does happen. It wasn't fucking Captain America Civil War stupidity here. It was just a kind of like basic, well, we could literally just walk into the front door after hours, hope there's not a guard, and try and steal the fucker back. Should we try it? Fuck yeah, Scotland. It was literally that paper thin and basic. And it worked. It was like, what the fuck? What is happening?
I'm loving this. I am loving this movie.
It is great. It is legitimately great. Now,
why did that not come up on Google, man? Fuck.
But it's really good. It probably didn't come up because it's only partly set in Scotland, but it's about Scotland.
Yeah. I mean,
They spend a good half of the movie around Westminster Abbey, to be honest with you. So it's set in London, you know, if you wanted to argue that, but it's a Scottish fucking movie for all intents and purposes. And what resonated with me so much is that obviously I've given away the ending. You know, they've taken the stone, they get the stone, right? But the ending of the movie, which is just like a black screen with a title coming over it, going, Scotland was allowed to keep the Stone of Destiny, and then in capitals, on loan until, and bearing in mind this was made in 2008, Scotland is allowed to keep the Stone of Destiny on loan until the next monarch ascends to the throne. And I've watched it out going,
oh,
motherfucker.
Oh, it's
some shit went down.
Okay.
And because of obviously King Charles coming to power,
just coming in, like that, It's
made
now.
the end like, whoa,
oh
shit,
fuck. That's banging.
It's really good. Like, and it's very much what you would call like a quote unquote little movie, but it's such fun. It's such a barrel of laughs. Like, it's very easy to digest. It's like an hour 40. Funnily enough, most of the movies on this list, that was one of the good things about them. Scottish movies are not long. A wee little movie, nannies.
Yeah, I've had a few that were over 2 hours, but nothing was hitting the big like 3 hours.
Hour 30, hour 40. I've had. That's it.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, Stone of Destiny. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Can't recommend it enough.
Mate, I honestly wish I caught that one. Cool. So that was your number 9.
Gavin Mann says, vaguely remember Stone of Destiny coming out at the time, but never got around to watching it. True story about taking the stone. One of the guys who did it in real life passed away a few weeks ago. No shit. R.I.P.
Literally, he survived seeing the stone go back to England. Like, fucking hell.
Mate, honestly, it's one of these movies where it's not like, I think in the pantheon of the movies that we've talked about on Movie Mount Rushmore, I don't think this is one we're going to go back to. Like, it's not going to be a Terminator 2 or a Die Hard 3. You know what I'm saying? This isn't going to be it's going to come up every fucking week. And in few weeks, months, years time, I probably would have forgotten about it. But when it comes back again, if it does, I'll be like, that's a good fucking movie. It's like, it's simple. It's in its design. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's an easy watch. It's not going to make you rethink your life the way some of these fucking movies do. Jesus Christ. But it's a great watch. It is nothing at all wrong with it. It's well acted. It's well paced. It's a good story. It was engaging. Flawless. There's nothing wrong with it.
Nice. I love it. I'm down for that film. Cool. Your number 8, sir.
My number 8. Yes, sir. My numero 8. So I need a little bit of preamble context for this one. As we said, we had some difficulty establishing what Scottish movies actually are there. Where do we fucking go in this needle in a haystack situation, right? One of the ways I went about it was, let me think about some non-IP, non-blockbuster, non-big name movies that I have watched in the last 20 years that have made an impact on me. Maybe one of the directors, unbeknownst to me, will be Scottish. And I remembered a movie which nearly made my top 10 of the 21st century. I believe I told you it came in at like 12 or 13. So had the list been longer, it would have been on. We need to talk about Kevin. Okay. Not a Scottish movie.
This is Voldemort's movie, right? Voldemort. I think Voldemort, as in the one we shan't name.
Oh, Ezra.
The Flash.
Poor Ezra.
Yeah.
Poor Ezra. I mean, poor Ezra. Fuck him. Movie, right? Fuck them, frankly. Yeah. No. It is the Ezra Miller movie, but it wasn't. The only reason I'm bringing up we need to talk about Kevin is because of the director.
Yeah.
Lynn Ramsey. And I'm not picking we need to talk about Kevin as my 8, by the way. I'm using it as a context. Okay. I'm using it as a context to say director Lynn Ramsey. I was like, okay, turns out she's Scottish. I'm like, okay, what else has she done? IMDb. Ooh. And thanks to this list, I have completely fallen in love with Lynn Ramsey's body of work. Spoiler, my number 8 is a Lynn Ramsey movie, and it's not the only one on my list. Wow, what a voice this woman has. In at number 8, I'm going to go Morven Kalar. What a film. So, one thing you need to be braced of. We need to talk about Kevin. We'll give you some insight into this. Lynn Ramsey has a seriously depressing view of life. Lynn Ramsey takes themes like guilt, like abusive parenting, like death, and frames them in a way, much like the way Martyrs did, which is so cold in its presentation, but so effective and provocative. Morven Kalar, which stars Samantha Morton playing title character Morven. She's not Scottish, lives in Glasgow, load of friends and whatever, has a boyfriend who we find out throughout the course of the movie that she's deeply in love with. The movie opens with a boyfriend having committed suicide on Christmas Day. And it's about the guilt and her dealing with that guilt and how she deals with the guilt of his death, even though she's got nothing to do with it. And when I tell you that this movie takes you from her, at some point, I'm not going to go into too much detail because that would be giving it away, but it goes from her dealing with the body, not saying how, dealing with the body, dealing with the messages that he's left her and the fucking Christmas presents that he left her, which is just like, so you knew you were going to do this and you still gave her presents. That's fucked up in all sorts. Finding in one of the notes saying that, hey, yeah, there's some money in my account for the funeral. And she's like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to use that money and I'm going to take me and my friend on a holiday to Spain. That's part of her grieving process. To then kind of, they start off in your typical Shagaloof Marbella type place where it's like, a big resort, shagging around. Lots of boobies in this movie. But this is by no means a teen rom-com. There are some booby scenes, but And, she decides that this isn't the appropriate way to grieve. She heads off into the Spanish mountains, literally fucking like Jules in Pulp Fiction, literally walks the earth for all intents and purposes. Meanwhile, in the background, a very interesting plot thread is unfolding because she's discovered on her boyfriend's computer a book that he's written. And she decides to change the name from his name to her name and sends it off to a publicist. And I won't say more about what happens there.
Fair enough.
But let me just...
Fair enough. I
hope that leaves you a little bit intrigued.
It is. A lot of the stuff that she's done, I'm like, I get it. I don't blame you.
So I'm going to go on a bit of a kind of... I'm going to attempt to at least go on a kind of Rashomon style ramble, if you'll permit me. Bro, Lynn Ramsey's confidence in the way she makes movies, it's nuts. It's so fucking absorbing. When you think that this was one of her early movies, this and the one I'm going to talk about later are late 90s, early noughties. Like this is, at this point, she's kind of only just done short stories. And short units, so not short stories, short films. For her to show this level of maturity and confidence in making a film is insane for someone who's so new to the game. She's the thing that I thought was so brave, because what is it that we were literally just talking about a moment ago with Macbeth? Slow burn. That's usually the death nail in movie making, right? As if you slow an audience down too much that they get bored. What she somehow manages to do with Morven Kalar, and indeed in the movie I'm going to mention later, no names yet, she slows the narrative tempo down, like literally almost to zero. It's like a condition of stasis in which the moment is held, kind of like, how could I liken it to? Like a musical note. Like imagine a guitarist like plucking one string and then just going, and and it keeps on going and going and going and going. You know what I mean? So she captures this moment in time without words and does not allow you as an audience member to move on. She's kind of like the French neo-surrealists do with movies like Blue is the Warmest Color. They make you live and breathe the moment because these are real character studies. These are real human stories, which anyone could end up in. And she's kind of like grabbing the audience by the throat going, no. This isn't fucking easy subject matter I'm giving you here. Live this moment with me, breathe this moment with me, because I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that what I'm putting on screen allows you to do that. Give me your fucking attention. And the way she goes about doing this is a thing of it's transcendent beauty. She like it. Oh, I could go on for hours about how can I wrap this up? It's Ramsey's movies are so gorgeously serene in their strangeness. And I believe she uses this. Let me just look this up. I believe the cinematographer, IMDb. Yes, she uses the same cinematographer for each of her movies. A guy or woman, could be a woman, Alvin Kutchler. Their cinematography, like the Coens, it's stunning. And this sound design, this is the thing that I find so fascinating about a movie. Instead of being like, oh, look, big explosions, Marvel, Star Wars, boom, boom, pew, pew. These movies force you to live in the moment. And by doing so, because they force you to live in the moment, they encourage you as a cinephile, whether you're an aspiring cinephile or an active cinephile, to take and breathe in things that you would normally take for granted. The sound design, how that assaults you, the cinematography, which kind of almost becomes a character and plays a part in her movies because it's literally what makes it the element that grabs you and says, live in the moment with me now. Breathe it, smell it, feel it, hear it. It's outstanding sound design. Everything. It's of the very highest caliber. And it's an inspired fit with the fierce seriousness of her vision in her movies, and specifically in More Than Color with Samantha Morton's performance. It appears, it's strange, because as it happens, More Than Color appears at a tough moment for British cinema. Production capacity and morale, from what we read in magazines like Variety, are said to be like the lowest since, what's her face? Virginia, help me. Virginia Bottomley, the cool Britannia era of homegrown movies. But, and this is going to sound pastiche as fuck, but work with me. In Lim Ramsey, we have the making of that rarest and most unfashionable of things, an artist. She is a fucking artist, this woman. It's mind-blowing how good she is. No. And it's not a got lucky once, because she did it with We Need to Talk About Kevin. She's done it with More Than Color, and she does it even more effectively with a movie I'm going to talk about later. Like, the woman is a fucking prodigy.
Cool. I will.
Thanks for your input. Cool.
Yeah. What much more is there to say when you can only embrace the work of an artist based on words without actually visually seeing it yourself? Potentially there might be another film and I'll be like, I get it, if we have that mutual film. Failing that, I'm just going to be like, cool, again, I need to check her out. Like, I would love to follow up, and I can say I appreciate the artistic flow that you mentioned. I must admit, sometimes cinematography is somewhat missed on me. I'm not saying always. It's narrative. And the fact that you said she can hold is something that really caught me there. I like the idea that as much as it drags, again, much like Blue is a Warmest Color, I was aware that the film is long, but I appreciated the narrative that was being told, and not from a perversion angle, just in general. There was a beautiful story being told there. And that's the thing. And if that's something I can embrace again from another director, by all means, I'm all on board. And again,
embrace it again from another director, and she'll tell you the story in an hour 40, not 3.
Perfect.
She's mesmerically good, this Lynn Ramsey. Like, I am a fan. Like, I am a big fan.
Cool.
What's your number 10, mate?
Right, in at number 10. If there was I can't remember where I saw it, but I did. I think it was AJ Vision. I did search high and low because it's one of those films that I've heard so much about, when it comes to Scottish movies or even British cinema in itself. It was a bit weird to take on that. Gregory's Girl.
All you, brother?
Yeah. Did you see it?
No.
Nah. It's a weird film. It's one of these coming of age films, and it's branded as comedy, but it just didn't make me laugh at first. And that's the weird part about it. You get this whole story of Gregory, who's, I don't want to call him Ferris Bueller, but he's meant to be that too cool for school. He gives his teachers a bit of attitude and whatnot. He's that
an
guy.
arsehole.
But he is not necessarily an arsehole. That's the thing. That's what I said. He's not as bad as Ferris, but it's kind of too cool for school. He's not Stifler either. He's not that level of cool. And you just see him as someone who kind of beats to his own drum in the way of the world kind of thing. And he's got the potential, but he's lacking for the football team. It's set in Scotland, by the way, entire Scottish cast and everything.
Figured, yeah.
And, well, I'll just get into why it qualifies. If I remember the district, Cumbernauld, Abron Hill in Cumbernauld. And basically, he's about to be cut from the football team. And he's kind of casual with it. I think he knows he's too good that they won't really find a replacement. And while the coach is holding this trial, it comes along this girl who is now going to audition. The sports teacher's like, no, it's a football team, love. The hockey team's over there. She's like, no, you didn't say anything. It's meant to be for guys. Long story short, she joins the football team. But while she's doing her, she's actually the best player on the team. But it lacks depth on that. Like, she's good at football, and it kind of gets like the school press to like follow her and stuff like that. But Gregory has now become mesmerized by her, and it's just this whole build up to him trying to woo her, but being a bit scared too. But what I personally felt with this film, it gave me little doses of moments, not enough for me to be heavily invested in, like, will he get her, will he not? But then came a part at the end, which I thought was quite warming, right? It's about getting the girl and understanding what love truly is. It's here was someone he fought, and he finally got the strength to ask her out, and they're about to go on a date. Something happens, and through that journey near the end, gave us something that said, okay, he now you gave me something to cheer you on for. Now it was a different kind of angle to the story. So it was a weird one to take, but the ending saved it for me. I think this thing has won BAFTAs and stuff, and I was still like, I don't get why. There was nothing cinema beautiful about it, but the ending gave me something. So that was my number 10.
Nice.
In at number 9 is not official Scottish, but it's Scottish folklore. It's from the world of Pixar. I know you've never liked it, but I've always had a soft spot for this movie. Brave. Now, one of the things I also was really pissed off with Disney/Pixar on this one is when they decided that they wanted to rebrand Merida to make her look like the traditional Disney princesses and stuff. And I always thought that was fucked up, And I think they got called on their bullshit for it. And this is just basically the story of a young girl who she creates a curse and then discovers her own bravery along it. But I remember hearing about this film, and I was like, I always say it, there's a period of Pixar where I'm not too sure what they can deliver. It actually worked out for me.
She's a beta Jasmine.
She goes a bit deeper than Jasmine, man. Leave her alone.
Does she really? I love my daddy, and no, I'm not going to be sold off because I'm a strong, independent woman. She's beta Jasmine.
With more focus, because where Jasmine
was the talking bear. Like, come on.
Why'd you have to be so harsh, bro?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me she is not a fucking Scottish clone of Jasmine.
No, she's Merida. Come on, wave the flag for Merida. But yeah, look, who was it that once said all stories are based off of 5 principles? 7 principles. This is it. So yes, if you see a beta Jasmine, you are going to see a story that's been told before. And I recall seeing that when I was watching this film. I don't know if I directly linked her to Jasmine, but I was like, I feel I know where this is going. At the same time, I think I'd seen Brother Bear. You kind of feel like you know what's coming, but yeah, you do. But it was also told in a nice way, and I had a fun adventure with it. Yes, it's not your number 8 or some fantastic real life story, but it was a nice, sweet one, and it fit for Scotland.
Well, that's just like, your opinion, man.
My nefarious opinion. Right.
Look, I'll be real with you. Brave was my number 10 when I was running low on time. I was like, I'll put it on there. We'll have a bit of a banter about it. I'll say that it's on there out of a pity vote, and I'm glad I didn't put it on. Because Brave frustrated me.
Because it had more potential?
The first 20 minutes, I was like, yes, you're a beta Jasmine, but you've got something to tell me here. The moment Mama turned into a bear, I was like, fuck you. They did the same thing to me with Soul. I was fascinated by Soul. And then the cat shit happened. I was like, now fuck you. You've done it again. You braved me again.
I found Soul to be so stakingly painful, if I'm honest. I think it had such potential and it just flopped. I rate Brave above Soul easily.
Oh no. No.
I think I saw everything. Maybe it's because I've seen Down to Earth is one of those films that I just saw I could see everything coming.
Look, we're picking between a douche and a turd sandwich here. This isn't top tier Pixar by any stretch.
But yeah, that's the one. But yeah, that was Brave. Right, in at number 8 is one I am happy to bring up. In a way, I felt it could have been a bit higher, but it's where it came. The Angel's Share.
I've heard a lot about this movie, and I sadly did not get around to watching it. So I'm fascinated for you to teach me more.
You know what's really funny about The Angel's Share is when it first started, I thought I was going to be in for a laugh a minute. Yeah, honestly, like you've seen some guy and he's drunk. That's essentially he's drunk and he's on the platform and you got the the voiceover saying like, please stand behind the yellow line, and they're like, fuck off, you prick in your blue hoodie, move back. And he's looking towards the thing and he does move back and he lands onto the train track and it's like, what the fuck have you made me do? And all of that kind of thing. You're like, oh, fuck's sake. Like, I'm expecting the comedy from it. But that guy isn't even like the main person in the story. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure. I'm so cautious with this phone. So he ends up going into rehab and having to do community service. And this is where the story actually kicks off. Is that the main person that you're following is another guy who's he's got a bit of a shady past, and he gets a phone call while in community service. And it's basically his child has been born and his girlfriend's just called him. And as he gets there, the dad and uncle literally beat the living. This is the girlfriend's dad and girlfriend's uncle beat the living fuck out of him because they're like, just stay away from her. Stay away from the kids, stay away from my daughter. You're no good for her. Like, that's that. And with that, his actual community service worker is the person who took him there. The guy takes him back. He tries to help him and they've warned him, like, keep out of this. This is family business, XYZ kind of thing. And the guy brings him back to his house for a bit and says, look, you're on the right track. You're doing your community service. You're being a positive guy. And he opens up a whiskey, some scotch for him to taste. And the guy, this is his first actual taste of scotch. And he takes a bit of appreciation to it. And the support worker is actually teaching him the art of appreciating a good whiskey kind of thing. And with that, you can see that the guy really is taking it on board, what is a good scotch and what have you. And he takes this whole team over to a distillery to see how scotch is being made and what have you. And in that point, that's where they've discovered that this guy has actually got a really good nose for smelling scotch. Like, where others are reminded of walled off and stuff, when he smells the scotch, he's like, that reminds me of Christmas cake that my grandmother used to make. And the I wouldn't say sommelier, but the tour guide for this thing is like, well done. Like, you've really got a really good eye for it. And long story short, these guys are now joining together. This whole band of people on community service are banding together to try and change their life around. And this is the thing. From what I thought was going to be a really big comedy, you've got this story of a man just trying to do his best by his family and people just trying to convert their life around. Yeah, there's a couple of giggles along the way, but it's them.
Ken Loach who directed this, isn't it?
I believe it was. I must admit, I was making notes of who's directed to what and everything, and I completely lost track of that. But yeah, I believe he was the director to this one, and it really hit home actually. What some of the stuff, like, it's a nice story of what they're trying to do to change their life around. There's a bit of to the whiskey industry, but yeah, it's a good watch.
You got any other Ken Loach movies on your list?
I believe I do. If I remember the director to these films, bros, I wish I could hit you with it. But
Gavin Mann confirms Ken Loach directed. Cool. Yeah, I've got a Ken Loach on my list too. Francis Lawrence is added to Amazon list. Angels Share.
Yeah, I think
Pedro Sanctos says The Angels Share is a great, thoughtful comedy.
yeah, it does. It's thought provoking. Yes, I believe it was Amazon. I watched it on actually. I believe it is. So if you do have a chance, catch it on.
That was your 8, yeah?
Yep, indeed.
All right, my number 7. You've either seen this, in which you have are going to say punt. If not, saddle up for a great ride. Grimy fucking movie. James McAvoy, Filth.
Punt. Oh, that's a punt, bro.
It's good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
6. Yeah, this is a first time watch for me too, AJ. I was like, woo, okay, Filth.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Number 6. So I mentioned when we did our top 10 horrors of the 21st century a few weeks ago that there was one I was specifically leaving off for an upcoming list, and this was the list. So I could make an argument that this is my favorite werewolf movie ever. Dog Soldiers.
Oh, did you do a review for this? Yeah. You done a review for this when it first came out, no?
No, this was well before Silver Screen Dudes was ever a thing, mate.
Oh. I keep getting it confused with something else.
You're thinking of War Dogs.
You've done something with dogs. There we go. I knew there was something with dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely different movie.
Okay,
War Dogs, Miles Teller and Jonah Hill become Jewish gun runners and get in over their head. Dog Soldiers, a group of fucking army guys go into the woods and fuck with werewolves.
Okay,
It's crazy, this film. Bro, I can't tell you how much fun it is. It's kind of like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to say it. It's kind of like Werewolves meet Seven Samurai.
You have said this before. I remember this comparison.
But it's true, though. Like, it's as B-movie as you like. But as I've said last week with Snakes on a Plane, if you know what you are and you embrace that, you get a hard pass. Like, as in 2 thumbs up, you get a pass on judgment. I will love you until the cows come home. It's got a weird fucking cast in it, too. Like, Liam Cunningham is in this. Like, he of First Night and fucking Game of Thrones fame. Kevin McKidd is in this. And your guy, Sean Pertwee, possibly the best Alfred. It's got this weird little cast. And what literally starts as a kind of like training program in the Scottish Highlands turns into a freaking nightmare with this group of, I think it's 7 or 8. I think it is 7, actually. So 7 samurai. Ending up in a barn house and having to defend this house against the Japanese invaders, in this case, the fucking werewolves. Now, the werewolves are actually quite cool looking, I have to say. They've gone more lichen than anything else. So, you know, the long bodies with the long claws and all that. Kind of like Sirius Black from Prisoner of Azkaban, but good. Right. But good and scary. Like, yes, there are moments where you can clearly tell that's a man in a bodysuit, but I'm kind of the opinion of, so if you think about it, if werewolves are real, that's literally a man in a werewolf suit. So
yeah, you're not far off. You know, listen, if the deliveries work, it doesn't really matter. This coming from a guy who can't stand Attack the Block based on the shape of the aliens, but I get what you're saying.
It's got some questionable fucking lines in it, but I kind of think that's part of the charm of the movie. Like, Sean Pertwee gets slashed right at the beginning of the movie, and a huge part of the movie is trying to save him from dying. He's like, my guts are hanging out. Oh, put them back in then. It's like, did that just happen? My guts are hanging out, but we'll put them back in. When they're trying to super glue his guts in. And he's like, it's too fucking painful. Knock me out. And Kevin McKidd punches him. And he's like, not like that, you pussy. And he gets punched again. Like, there's these moments of levity in it that really, really work. Equally, the movie in parts is genuinely fucking creepy. Like, I don't know why this movie works for me so well. And I imagine you still haven't seen it. You like werewolves, if I'm not mistaken. I know they don't rank. Yeah. They're not vampires. I know that's your jam. Yeah. But like,
I could give it a shot.
bro, it's an hour and a half of your time. Genuinely, you
Dog
will not
soldiers,
regret. Dog soldiers. And Pedro's saying to us, it's like, listen, is it better than An American Werewolf in London? I know the on-trend, in vogue thing to say is to praise John Landis and say that that's the greatest werewolf movie ever. And it does have some of the best werewolf stuff. It's still to this day got the best werewolf transformation ever. Yes, yes, yes. But I'm kind of, favorite-wise, I'm more towards Dog Soldiers. And AJ, holy shit. Do you know who's joining us for the first time?
Hit me.
JT.
Salute, JT. I think it's the second. But yes, salute. I really, in awe, honored. Thank you very much, JT.
Honored by your presence, Mr. JT.
Indeed.
Hello, everyone. Where are we on Scottish movies? Well, I think that we should have a quick recap for JT's sake, given that he hosts our poll, and without him, this show is nothing. So, JT, up until now, my friend, we are at my number 6, and I have gone in at number 10, Tragedy of Macbeth, in at number 9, Stone of Destiny, in at 8, Morven Kala, 7 was Filth, and 6 was Dog Soldiers. AJ, your bottom 3,
JT,
please.
I'm currently at I was about to do my number 7, but at number 10 is Gregory's Girl, number 9 is Brave, and in at number 8, The Angel's Share.
And perfect timing, because now, AJ, over to your number 7. Also, watch Dog Soldiers.
Yes, I've put it on the list. Right, in at number 7, a bit of true story for you here, bro. The Wee Man.
The Wee Man.
Seen it? Heard of it?
Tell me more.
So this story, believe it or not, okay, is set in Scotland, but was not filmed in Scotland. Do you know why? The Scottish government of police thought it was too sympathetic towards gangster Paul Ferris and decided that they didn't want it filmed there. So they blocked it from being filmed. So it's actually filmed in the UK, in England, but it's a Scottish movie, based from a real Scottish gangster. So the Wee Man himself is Paul Ferris. And you start off with seeing him in prison. But basically what you see is that he's in a pretty rough area. He's got a load of gangs and what have you. He's walking his dog one day, going off to meet his friends. He looks through a shop window and he sees these, I can't remember the brothers' names. I'm going to call them Harris brothers, but they may not be the Harris brothers, right? For argument's sake.
Would you like me to do a Google check for you?
It's not that deep. Basically, they're just carrying on with an armed robbery or what have you. And before he wants to get caught, he's just running back. He's just out to catch up with his friends and stuff. And he catch up with his friends, but the Harris brothers catch up with him. And they're like, which one of you guys was it that will look through the window? And all like, not me. And then one of them's like, it was you. And like, no, it wasn't me. Long story short, and they're like, yeah, we got it. So they've got rid of all the guys, and he's going off with his ball and his dog. And one of the brothers says, this is to tell you what kind of nasty work they are, right?
Thompson brothers, says Gavin, man.
Gavin, thank you. There we are. So the Thompson brothers, being the absolute bastards that they are like, give us a kick. And he's like, they totally ignored him, right? The Thompson brother calls him back again, give us a kick. So he rolls back, he comes back, rolls the ball to him. Sadly, he doesn't kick the ball. He kicks the dog and kills the dog, kind of thing. Like, it's fucking bastard. And this guy is like, he's literally 8 or 9 and they're like in their teens already, right? That's how you kind of start with the film. And you can see he's quiet. His parents don't want him to get into all this kind of, into that world, and they're like, look, just ignore them, we could get through to it. And basically the story develops. We start to go back into a flashback and see him get a bit older in his teens. He's at a party. The Thompson brothers again scare him off. But on his way to the party, he was actually going to pick up a knife because they've been bullying him all. They are the Mitchells of the area, if you would. It sounds sad to compare them to fictional characters, but you get what I'm saying. They're the Krays, if you would. The bullies of
I was going to say, we couldn't have gone with the Krays.
Let's go with the Krays. Fuck Filling Grant. Fuck them. Yeah. And the dad's like, that's not the way to go about life. This, that, and the other. The usual story. He gets there. He gets scared. And they get rid of him. He's running at home, and they start to sexually abuse his girlfriend. But he's actually now come back with a knife, and he's like, I'm not going to have it. And he literally scalps one of the brothers and stabs up the other one. And this is the beginning of him going, it feels justified, but this is where probably the government are like, how dare you? Don't sympathize with this guy. But now that he's now gone inside and what have you, and he's had a reputation for challenging these brothers. And I think there was one other Thompson brother inside, and he's managed to arrange methods for that guy to get killed. He's now in the underworld that he doesn't want to be in, right?
But he's known as a bad motherfucker, right?
Well, this is it. This is it. He's got the wallet right now. And this is the thing. So now that he's back out, it's now his world. He's actually hired by one of these gang lord, drug lords, or whatever you want to call it, one of these top chief gang members, to be one of his guys. And it's this whole spiraling of this former innocent guy who by circumstances led into the world around him, kind of thing. And it's him trying to get out of it, but also still being heavily involved in it and what needs to be done. The guy who's hired him, his son is now very jealous of the relationship that his dad's got with him. So he's now teamed up with some of the Thompson brothers to try and exact revenge. And it's this whole situation that he knows what to do to handle business, but he doesn't want to do it. And it's the point where he keeps the realization of who he's becoming, how it's affecting his family life and stuff like that. It was quite... There are some times I feel like the acting could have been a bit deeper. It could have been a bit better, but I actually really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the story. It was actually quite a good story.
It sounds good, but Gavin, man, can't believe you put this above Angel's Share.
Maybe it's the way I watched them, and I'm assuming, Gavin, there were sometimes I was literally fighting my way along there to stay up or what have you. And I think I saw this one a bit earlier than when I saw Angel's Share. So like I probably caught this throughout fully properly, whereas Angel's Share I was fighting my way through. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. The story not resonated more, but I was on board with. Yeah.
And Pedro Santos, just going back to my comment from before regarding werewolf movies. Nico, you can prefer whichever one, obviously. Thanks for acknowledging American Werewolf in London. The zombie best friend is genius. Oh, yeah. Superb. Your number 6, please, AJ.
Right. This is the punt, because I know it's Braveheart.
What the? Say the movie.
Braveheart, I said it.
Fuck no. Punt. What is wrong with you?
There's something about Braveheart that I've captured it, but I haven't. I don't know what it is.
What the fuck?
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It clearly is what it is, and it is fucked. So over to my number 5. I'm not going to stay long for this one because we talked about it in depth a few weeks ago. Funnily enough, on the horror episode, and it's one that actually gave you a bit of the spooks, AJ. I wonder if you've had a chance to get around to it yet. The Descent.
No. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. This one. The claustrophobia movie. No.
Yeah. The claustrophobic horror movie. It's fucked
Had
up.
I known it was Scottish, I probably would have. I think I forgot it was a Scots movie.
Yes. It's very good. It's so good. But again, for our regular viewers, I'm not going to go into this again now, but if you're new to the show or new to the pod, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did the top 10 horror movies of the 21st century. We talked about it ad nauseum on there, so please go and enjoy. Your number 5, please, AJ.
In at number 5, Gavin, this was a recommendation from you previously. Some will say, my God, this is over Braveheart. Yeah, and this is a sin to many. Dear Frankie. Seen it? Heard it?
I'm not going to shit on you because I haven't seen it, but how dare you put this over Braveheart?
What, a Gerald Butler movie over Braveheart? No.
Fuck me. And it's and
he's not Leonidas. How fucking dare you? Yeah, no, I tell you what caught me with this film, and it could have been a lot higher, and I'm not going to lie to you, because it tugged on me emotionally. The ending kind of fucked it for me in terms of it was still sweet, but it wasn't that. So basically, Emily Mortimer has a young son by the name of Frankie, and you start off this whole story of Frankie writing letters to his dad. And basically, they keep moving from town to town. That's all we know. And he's writing to his dad, and you realize that his dad is meant to be a naval man. He's on a boat and he's traveling around the world, and that's why they've not had a relationship. But he's like, Dad, it's really exciting. I've just moved here to sea. I'll be able to see, like, look out for boats and some of the stuff that they've sold. And it's a back and forth letters being exchanged. Then we realize that it's not actually Frankie's dad who's been writing letters. It's been his mum the whole time. Emily Mortimer's writing stories, and we don't know what's happened to his dad. We're led to believe he might be dead, but we're not sure. We're not officially sure. And through this whole journey, we then realised that on top of everything else, Frankie's deaf. So he can lip read really well. So he's going to a normal school. His mum's trying to give him his normal life, you know, like doesn't want any special treatment for him. But there's this little bastard prick in his school who's like literally the first thing he does when they sit next to each other, he writes DEF boy. And like Frankie's not even taking it into an offense. He's putting A, trying to smile like, no, that's how you write deaf and stuff like that. But then more and more you realize this guy's a real little shit, right? And he's out to just really ruin Frankie's day. And he one day pops by to Frankie's house and sees these pins all over a map, and it says Accra. And he's like, "What's Accra?" And that's when his mum pops in and goes, "Oh, that's the boat that Frankie's dad's on." And we see that story, and then it turns out the next day in school, this kid has popped out a little letter on Frankie's table and says, "The Accra's coming to Scotland." So now Frankie's writing a letter to his dad saying, "Oh, Dad, like, I know you probably wanted it to be a surprise, but this prick's just told you, like, you know, I think he's jealous because, you know, basically it's all jealousy, but I know you're coming, Dad, and this, that, and the other." But the guy's like, "I bet your dad's not going to come and see you. He doesn't want to know you. Your mum, that's why your mum didn't tell you. XYZ." And they've now got this whole bet of like his stamp collection and his knife versus this kid's trump cards. And the mum feels like she's now trapped in a corner. And this is where she goes to look for someone to play Frankie's dad. Enter Gerald Butler. And basically, this is that she finds someone who's not really from the area, but would be able to play the role of the dad, what have you. And at that point, it's really sweet, actually, like the extent of what happens to.
It's got a bit of a Gifted vibe about this.
Kind of, but different. Because Gifted is an actual relative, you know what I mean? Yeah, Gifted was the uncle, what have you. But it's just trying to give this kid a really nice moment. And Gerald Butler's character plays really stone cold when he's first met. And it's like, you know, the mum's whole vibe was, I want someone with no history, no attachment, just someone to play the role. And that's what he plays at first. It's really cold, and you think, okay, he's doing it for the money and he's gonna fuck off. But he really goes in deep. What happens after, and I don't want to get into spoiler territory, it just seems a bit too much for one day to have happened. But I still feel like it was a sweet story, you know? And then there's a point where Frankie's actual dad does reappear. And then it's like, what happens here and that and the other. But that's the crux of the story. Without going.
Sounds good, mate.
It's actually really good. I just didn't enjoy the ending. It's not I didn't enjoy the ending. I just found the time frame in which the relationship was built. You're like, but essentially this is over the course of 2 days. Am I really meant to believe that? But apart from that, it's actually a really sweet story.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds.
It's on Disney Plus. It's there.
Oh, sweet, wicked.
Yeah.
All right, cool. My number 4. I'm still contemplating if I don't put this higher or not, but yeah, I think the top 3 are pretty locked in, to be honest. This is Lynn Ramsey's second movie. Lynn Ramsey, who I spoke about earlier regarding More Than Color. This is her first movie. Came out in 1999. Ooh, I mean.
If it's the name you're gonna say, I'm not cry, but there's one film I was dying to see that missed my list.
Warning: Lynn Ramsey's movies are not meant to be watched for happy times. Just warning. Ratcatcher.
No, it's not that one. Okay.
Oh, Jesus, this film is a hard watch, bro. So, set in Glasgow around 1973. The backdrop is there's a union that's gone on strike, and the result is that there's trash piling up in the street, and it's spreading viruses. The rats are spreading viruses, yada yada yada. Right? That's very much kind of like the way we've bookended this story. The story centers on a young boy called Jamie. Jamie witnesses and debatably is the cause of his close friends drowning in a canal. This is first 10 minutes of the movie.
Right.
And while this is going on, this is hard to get out. While this is going on, Jamie gets confronted with very real realities, which is a terrible sentence, but for lack of a better word, real realities. So the estate that he lives on, people are being gradually moved out of there because they're essentially falling into decay. It's uninhabitable, right? And his family is one of the last still living on the estate. So his dad is... Listen, he's not going to qualify as one of the cinema's great dads, but he's also not, you know, he's not one of the worst. He's got moments where you kind of wish he just paid more attention to his kids. He's pretty toxic towards Jamie, but he's less so towards the two sisters. So you're kind of always like, you're a wastrel dad, but you're not an evil dad, if that makes sense. And because of the dad's, you know, alcohol abuse, every time the social workers come and actually look at the apartment to see do they need to be moved out, they're denied because they're not going to go and put an alcoholic and his family in a new housing estate because they'd ruin that too. So what Lynn Ramsay has done here is she has, for all of us to bear witness to, completely stripped bare the innocence that goes hand in hand with a child. There is maybe I'm saying this as a dad, but I think this would have affected me equally a few years ago. There is very few things more hard to watch than on screen than a child having to come to terms with how cruel life is at an age where they shouldn't be doing that. It's very hard to watch. And dude, even the fucking Lion King is an example of a movie that did that brilliant. Simba had to grow the fuck up and do it quickly, and he got lucky that he found Timon and Pumbaa. You know what I mean? But like, this movie is kind of like Scotland's Angela's Ashes, if that makes sense. It's similar type of tone, very depressing, and it's just repeated shit that happens to Jamie. It's and you can see before your eyes, because Lynn Ramsay is such a fucking brilliant auteur, artist, filmmaker. And by the way, for everyone in America, please can we stop calling auteur an auteur? It's not T-O-U-R. It's not. It drives me. One of my biggest pet peeves after having spent a month with those fucking rednecks in Florida. And I say that and they refer to themselves as that's why I'm permitting myself. Hey, man, that auteur. It's like, you mean an auteur, yes? Auteur, French word, auteur. If you want to anglicize it, auteur, not an auteur. Please stop saying auteur. And also, Denis Villeneuve, director of Dune, director of Sicario, director of Prisoners. It's not Denis Villeneuve. It's not Denis Villeneuve. It's not Denis Villeneuve. It's Denis Villeneuve. It's really not difficult. That goes out to any American who's getting that name wrong. Denis, no, fuck tomato.
With a tomato.
No, fuck tomato. It's auteur, not auteur. That's T-O-U-R, not T-E-U-R. So it's different spelling. It's not tomato.
Just another one, Gavin. You've asked something about subtitles. I haven't seen it. I don't know if you can.
Oh, that's something I wanted to bring up. Thank you, Gavin. You beat me to the point. So strong is the Scottish in this movie. It's not subtitles are needed, AJ. Subtitles are part of the movie. It's not like, I'm having real difficulty understanding this accent. Let me see if I get it better with subtitles. No. Lynn Ramsay's fully aware that this is fucked up levels of depths of Scottish, and you will not understand it if you're not a Scottish speaker. You may not understand it if you are a Scottish speaker. It's deep, deep Scottish slang. Subtitles for the whole movie.
Wow. Okay.
And so this little kid having to survive on an estate where his big dream is just, and it sounds crazy that a child should have this as a dream. What do most kids dream of? I want to go on a spaceship. I want to be a superhero. Yeah. You know, normal shit that a kid should be allowed to dream about because they retain that innocence. No. Do you know what this kid dreams about? Peace. And I'm not talking about world peace. I'm talking about just peace for himself, space to breathe. And the movie assaults you with that message repeatedly. Like there's one scene in the movie where he literally decides to take a bus to the end of the bus route and ends up in, bumtown middle of nowhere. And he sees like empty houses being built for, new developments there being built for the repurposing of families from his estate. And he's like, fuck, man, I'd move in here now. Why can't we live here? And the one moment of levity that the movie gives you is him running in the fields and just throwing himself through the corn and the barley and being like, oh, just he's allowed to breathe for the first time in the movie. The guilt that he has to suffer as a result of being the cause of his friend dying, the anguish he has to go through because his father's a wastrel, the difficulty he has to go through because of the environment he lives in, and the one friend who he makes is this girl who's a little bit older, and the movie is purposefully ambivalent about this, but she's kind of like, the one way to look at it is she's kind of like, the town bicycle. Another way to look at it, which is far more morbid, and they don't really hide away from this, is that she can't defend herself and she just gets raped repeatedly. And so she kind of assumes this position at the point in the movie where it's like, well, I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm just going to go with it. She's very much given up hope. And that becomes his best friend. And he's got to watch that shit happen to her. And it's like, can you give the kid a break, please? It's hard to watch. And it is truly one of those movies which, unlike Stone of Destiny, which is a great laugh, this movie will haunt you and it will stay with you. And it is one of those movies which will make you think and go and study what was going on in Glasgow during that time. And it will make you look at images on Google going, fuck me, things were really bad in Glasgow then, weren't they? And it will then make you look at studies of how children handle guilt. And it's like the fucking rabbit holes of studying I went down on the back end of watching this movie just to get an even greater appreciation for it. That's art. That's fucking art.
Oof. Bit of a chiller, that one. There's not much to really yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. Again, recommendation, what platform, or was it an AJ?
AJ Vision.
Okay. Cool. Oof. Ooh, shivers, mate. Shivers.
Gavin Mann says, Lynn Ramsey and some Ken Loach films are so close to being 100% Scottish, based purely on West Coast accents and dialects. I can watch them quite easily, forgetting most others will struggle. Yeah, we love movies. JT, bro, if Ken Loach is one of your top 5 directors, and I agree with you, yeah, I rate him highly, you must get to know Lynn Ramsey's body of work. Morven Color.
One of the things that I realized was
Ratcatcher. This woman is a prodigy.
I realized how much Ken Loach was coming up in terms of names and stuff. Like when I was going through some of these films, I was like, okay, yeah, a new discovery, but one I'm not opposed to. I'm quite happy I discovered, if I'm honest. Yeah.
JT sounds like he met Ken Loach. I met him a few years ago. A nice guy with the same political views I have. It's always nice when you meet people you like.
Yeah.
Ken Loach is one of the masters of cinema. Yes. No arguments.
I'm down with that. I'm most definitely down with that after today. Well, after this this episode. Right. Okay. In at number 4 is The Punch from earlier. Pure filth. What a madness, man.
Filth is crazy.
I was just, yeah. How does one start this? I just love the way it starts with the narration of when he's sitting down at the table with all the other police officers and how he, the badge is there. It's like the percentage chance and the odds of them being outdoing him to become a constable or high detective, whatever. Detective inspector. It was just tops, and it's the madness behind it. So for anyone who's not seen Filth, we've got James McAvoy as a very, very twisted cop.
Oh, this is Bad Lieutenant in Scotland shit.
Yeah, like he's into all sorts of madness and badness. If there's a drug, he'll take it. If there's a madness,
cut my gas off. Fuck.
Do you know what it was as well? It was the other part when he catches the guy going into the room with the daughter, with the QC's daughter, and even though he finds out she's underage, he still gets her to do a madness and then stops. Again, I'm not sure if it was because of age or because of performance, but I must admit,
Performance, 100%. It's
performance.
performance, and then he masked it.
That line is freaking golden. It's disgusting that he's doing it to a minor, but to ask someone performing oral sex, who taught you how to do that? A cheese grater literally was stuck in my head. Like, oh wow, that's wild. But it's this whole basically. We're first introduced to James McAvoy's wife, who talks about how their relationship relies on him getting what he wants, results in her getting what she wants, and that's how they have a fruitful life. But we never actually see them together. She tells a bit of a story, he tells a bit of a story, and then there's a murder of a young Japanese student, and James McAvoy believes that this is his chance to shine, outrank all of his competition, and become the detective inspector above the rest of them. And it's the means he goes through, the way he tries to bury each of his co-workers, essentially, and finds ways to, not only professionally, but privately as well. Whether it's hooking up with
the phone sex stuff.
The phone sex stuff. All angles that he does, the photocopying, just because he knew how insecure Jamie Bell was about the size of manhood, and he could see him getting off with a woman, and he would like, this is it. As much as we talk about his wife, he gives no fucks. He will mess around with absolutely everyone around him. There's this Mason guy that he's friends with.
We never see the wife.
Yeah. This is it. As I said, that you never see him.
A reliable narrator.
Yeah.
Do you know there's one thing the movie did which I think blink and you'll miss it? Not in terms of the scene, but in terms of how we're meant to absorb it, just because we're so used to it being seen the other way around. He does get raped. Like, let's not fucking twist it. He says no, and she forces herself on him, and the next scene we see is him literally in the fucking fetal position, shivering.
Yeah,
he's raped. He is flat out stone cold raped and then told stop being a pussy about it. Now, I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy who says that, you know, we've got it harder than women, because we fucking don't. But that shit
But it happens.
But not only does that shit happen, I thought that was a stroke of cinematic genius to show how stigmatizing male rape is.
Yeah.
Because I strongly believe most people would watch that scene and go, they just had some aggressive sex and he wasn't in the mood. It's like, if those genders were reversed, we scream and rape to the hills.
Yeah.
If he was her and she was him and that scene unfolded that way and then we went into the next scene, it's not a doubt. That's rape. He was raped.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that's so fascinating about Filth, is that while he is a loathsome, odious motherfucker, somehow I always felt sorry for him.
It's one of those things that you know, again, being the narrator to a story, you are going to sympathize with to a degree. You know, it's like
think about the scene on the stairs where the female inspector candidates come after him, and he's kind of launched at her and then broken down, and you're like, okay, so you're not just a one-dimensional character who's like bad because movie says be bad. You've actually got some fucking profound depth to you.
But there's that other side. Is it the nurse? Like the relationship that they've got, it always shows you he's not as bad as you think. You know, he's not. No matter what happens, no matter how loathsome he gets, she always pops up to show you he's got that soft side, that human side, that decent side. You know. So, yeah.
And that ending, sorry, I didn't see that coming. Jesus.
No. Prior to that, it felt like a prequel to one of his other films. I'll just put it in the private chat without going into spoiler territory. Like when you start to realize, I was like, "Ooh, early stages of that film." But you're like, it feels really positive, and then you're like, okay, we're going with that angle. It's an interesting twist and end. It was mad because you go from batshit crazy. The later part of the second act, early third act, I was a bit like, it just felt a bit messy around there for me. But it still gave me a lot for me to be into it. That's what made it my number 4. It starts off as a batshit crazy movie. It stays that way. But where it's good, you know, the crazy laughs and that, you know, as the missus said, every 5 minutes there's someone just getting jerked off or something in this movie. It goes from that to like really hitting some notes where you're like, oh, okay, yeah. There was a lot to appreciate from Filth, and
I
adapted
thought
from the
Jamie Bell was fucking great in this.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, you gotta love Jamie Bell in it. I thought he was great.
And Eddie Marsden.
Eddie Marsden.
He was the friend who he goes to Amsterdam with.
Yes. Oh yeah. All of them. I don't think there's anyone who actually under-delivered throughout this film. Even though some of them got small parts, they played their part well.
No, but now let's say this. How fucking good was McAvoy in this?
He's tops, man. He's tops. I have to be honest.
Jim Broadbent. Thank you, Gavin.
Yeah. Broadbent's character, I tell you what, it played into the psyche, you know, of what is going on. That's the thing about it.
It gave me Moulin Rouge vibes.
I felt that way, but it was the wacky, which was the internal narrative, you know, the internal conversation. So you can't knock it because it played its part for what it needed to be.
Aye, great fucking film. All right, my number 3. My turn to bring in Mr. Ken Loach. This film blew me away. I'm blessed to have seen this. I could flip-flop on whether this should be considered better than Ratcatcher or not, but I do think this is the better film, just only ever so slightly. My number 3 is My Name is Joe.
Coincidentally, my number 3.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whey!
This is the one that I was watching on More 4, and I realized it said Channel 4 Film 4 in the beginning. I was like, I wonder if BritBox has got it. And thankfully it did. So I was able to cut all the adverts that was coming out through More 4. And what a journey, man. What a journey.
Really moved me. Really moved me. So for those who haven't seen My Name is Joe, it's about just past middle-aged man on the 12-step program. He's 10 months clean, 10 months sober. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. He doesn't have much of a life. Let's be honest. He's got a crummy little apartment, very little to nothing in the way of family. The one thing he has going for him, and it's not, they don't even make a particularly big deal about it through repeated viewings in the movie. You just see them once or twice. But they're kind of the beating heart of what he has going for him is his little football team, which has never won a fucking thing. Yeah. The reason the football team is so important is because he feels a sense of paternal, I guess, protection over each of them. And that comes to play a huge part in the movie with, what's his name?
The family. Oh, God. I would have said Lewis. I don't think it's Lewis, though.
It's going to drive me nuts, that. I've only seen it.
What is his name?
I should know. Fuck it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, one of the football players, what we see throughout the movie is he keeps getting Liam. Thank you. He keeps getting beaten up by, you know, the local plastic gangsters. You know, in the grand scheme of international men of mystery, these guys are no big deal. But you know, locally, they're the local hard nuts, right? And you're wondering, okay, what's he done? And then the movie takes a turn down dark alley because you find out that while Liam used to be a junkie who's gone clean, he owed money to the local gangsters, and then his wife ended up owing money to the local gangsters.
While he was inside and stopped dealing,
So he's been drawn into something which he's been given an ultimatum for: either pay it back or we break your legs. And that's when, you know, Joe steps in. So while all of this dark shit is going on, and this is the part that moved me, Joe, which he's entitled to do as a human being, is trying to rebuild his life and is trying to actually form a relationship with one of the nurses, with a nurse. Again, we're talking about nurses here. He's trying to build a relationship with a nurse, and she's very on the fence about him because of, you know, the fact that at the age he's at, he can't necessarily provide for her because he doesn't have means to. He's a recovering alcoholic. He's living on a benefit allowance. He's got little to nothing in the way of money.
You know, there's that, and I think you've also got to remember how they were introduced to each other. She's the care worker who's going to Liam's house to see what they're, you know, do a welfare check, and you've got this a central wastrel who's like, yeah, don't worry, they're booking another appointment. Come on, after the football we go. You know, that's not the best first impression as well.
It's not. You're quite right. I hadn't even remembered that. Well said. But they've got, I think correctly so, because human beings are obviously complex by nature. They have a very complicated relationship. It's not just as simple as he's recovering, she's straight edge, and they're not compatible. It's a lot more nuanced than that. And like with all of these great art house films, the characters are allowed time to breathe. Yeah. This is the shit I keep saying in our fucking comic book chat, AJ, is that it's all very well seeing the booms and the bangs of Marvel and Star Wars and us debating which fucking nerdy route they should go down as nauseum. But the reality is that these movies that we spend so much of our time deliberating and disseminating and dissecting and debating, they can't hold a fucking candle to the movies like we're talking about tonight. Like, Endgame cannot touch movies like My Name is Joe or Ratcatcher. It doesn't have that depth. I know it's not trying to, but there's a huge part of me, you may call me a snob if you wish, but there's a huge part of me to think that $2.9 billion went to films like Avatar, Avengers, and Titanic, and yet movies like this get passed over, and movies like this are the actual human experience.
Do you know what it is? And I'm not knocking anyone in that group, well, or defending anyone, because quite frankly, it is what it is. It's the name of the group, right?
I know.
And
I know.
You there's a certain expectation each time you open your phone of what you're going to get. You know, I mean, one of the films that I have held truly dear to me is 12 Angry Men. Now, this is a film that...
But that's allowed time to be a classic.
Yeah, no, but again, bro, you say that. But for me, it was an introduction that's come along with this podcast, yeah? And you might be thinking, okay, well, whatever. But it's just a good movie. And I think each person has that. But it's easier to always find common ground in the blockbusters. This is the money makers. But again, one of the sins of
the
cinema,
conversation always ends up being the same thing.
But this
it's fan booking. It's what route are we going to go down? Oh, imagine if they did that storyline. Oh, I can't wait for that character to show up and give me my nerdy orgasm.
Yeah, but
it's
do you know what it is? Again,
we're talking about shit here like boys growing up in abandoned Glasgow estates who have had to let go of what makes them children and seeking out peace. We're talking about guys on 12-step programs who are trying to fucking save their friends from the local gangsters. Like, these are actual stories.
Studios have a lot of responsibility into this because it's what gets put forward. Because there are some stuff that are too gritty for certain people to handle. So you put something fictional out there which isn't too close to home. Again, my classic argument is my love for Crash. Right? Crash will give you certain feels that certain people I've argued, and I'm not here to be offensive to anyone. It just hit too close to home. People are like, that's not what I'm here for. No, that's not what an Oscar's about. Well, maybe it's not, but it hits you where it needs to in certain areas. Okay, it's not the greatest of films, I appreciate, but it hits where it needs to when it needs to. And that's the problem. I think we're so indulged. We've been so invested in the blockbuster. You know, does it scare me? Does it make me laugh? That there's no place for reality. You know, again, go back to films of the 21st century. The Founder, which I think is an absolute fucking masterpiece. Even though it has faces you recognize on the screen.
But still made in the Hollywood big budget system and had a huge marketing budget behind it.
Yeah, but think of it. When you go back to people and be like, The Founder. Some people will see it, some won't. Now, if those aren't going to get it, how do you expect something like this to get the love it deserves? Do you get what I'm saying? And this is the problem.
No, listen, I hear you. They're never going to put a $200 million marketing budget behind a movie like this ever. And I think that's fucking tragic. And you say it's down to the studios. Yes, it's down to the studios as far as the way they market. There's three different avenues who are to blame here. Sure. Pedro Santos has mentioned one of them here. The second one is the cinemas. One of the worst symptoms of what Nico is saying is a superhero film having 80 show times a day, taking over almost all screens. There are, at this moment in time, let's go with right now in the present to support what Pedro is saying. Black Adam is still out. Black Panther is still out. They're going to do, fireworks. They're going to do re-shows of Top Gun Maverick this weekend because they will. They're going to re-show the Batman, and now we're bracing for Avatar 2 to come out. Armageddon Time, a brand new movie with Anthony Hopkins, which looks fucking phenomenal. It came out last week, brother. It had 2 showings. This week, it has 2 more showings on a Thursday. And these are not prime time, 8 p.m. times. After that, it's gone. You thought 13 Lives was their ass movie. I know you're about to pull that. 13 Lives, Julian Minor's movie. Yeah. You thought that got fucking short-handed. Armageddon Time, which has got Anthony Hopkins. That's being fucking short-handed.
Do you know the problem right now? And I'm not defending cinema. Cinema is on the ropes, so they need to put out what they know is going to sell.
Cinema's got Black Panther and Top Gun at the moment. Cinema's doing fine.
Cinema's still not saved, bro. That's the sad bit. And I'm not defending it because they are wrong. They are wrong.
Fine. Cinema's fine, bro. This fucking debate. We're going on a tangent of our tangent. Since the fucking television came out, this soundbite of cinema's in trouble now has been the same thing. Then high production TV with companies like HBO. Then the rise of VHS, CTR. Oh, and then DVD came along. Oh, it's high quality now. Cinema's fucked. People aren't going to go out. Then streaming services came along. And you know what's going to bite the dust before cinema does? Netflix. Bro, cinema's fine. When you've got movies, like it's a soundbite that I've heard since the 60s, that I imagine has existed since the 60s and before, right? Whenever the fuck TV became into mass circulation and whenever the studios started allowing TV to show their movies on a home viewing basis, this soundbite has existed forever and it's yawn.
The only time I think of it and the only time I believe it, bro, is based off of the pandemic. I think the pandemic gave it a blow that is trying to recover.
That's
the
true.
only thing. That's the
I agree
only
with
thing.
that.
Yeah.
The pandemic was not fucking helpful.
Pre that, there was no excuse for it being the way it was. And I totally agree.
And the third avenue I wanted to go down to, we talked about studios putting too much money into backing one thing. We've talked about the cinemas putting showtimes on. Those 2 things now curtail into the third thing, which I am the most interested in. Us fans. Because it's all very well the cinemas putting money into these movies, right? You can fucking sign every one of those stupid gov.org petitions out there. Petitions, if you're outside of the UK, where if you have a certain amount of fucking signatures, it will actually go to Parliament. Petitions are fucking stupid, okay? The way that movie studios listen to you, cancel Ezra Miller. Fuck off. No one's canceling Ezra Miller. You know how you want to cancel Ezra Miller? Don't go see The Flash. That's how you cancel Ezra Miller. And the point I'm making, not that I'm advocating you do or don't see The Flash. I have no opinion on the matter. It's too complex. Cinemas listen to money. Money. If you're going to say to the cinema, if you put out this comic book movie for me and you put the name Marvel on it, take my monies. Not some of my monies. Take all the monies. The studios will go, all the monies? Yes, all the monies. Please take all the monies, all my hard-earned monies. My daughter doesn't deserve it. My wife doesn't deserve it. I don't deserve it. You deserve it. Take my hard-earned monies. Please, Marvel, give me more vanilla content. I want more content. Give me more of this shit. Are you sure? Motherfucker, I'm showing up day 1-ish for your movie and the cinema's packed. You want to fucking know if I'm tuning in or not? So, okay, we'll make more of this stuff then. We're speaking to them with our purchasing choices, bro. And it's something I've preached
but I honestly
infinite time. Movies, games. That's why I don't support games like FIFA. It's why I don't support any of the NFL games. Because if you buy those games, you are essentially sending a message to the developers that I accept what you are giving me, which is the same fucking game repackaged year after year, right? Say what you want. I like comic book movies. I am not shitting on them to the nth degree. I enjoy them. I'm usually there day 1 watching them. Fuck Black Adam. I'm no interest in that. But mostly I'm interested in comic book movies. So I am effectively part of the same problem. I'm not saying I'm operating on some higher ground here. I watch comic book movies. But the fact of the matter is that the way that cinemas and studios listen to us is money. So we are part of the problem. It's all very well saying, well, the studios are pumping 200 million into this new Black Panther or this new Avatar marketing. It's like, yeah, because you're going to be there opening day or opening weekend, motherfucker.
Sorry, I just saw Gavin thinking you said Black Adam as opposed to Black Adam. Bro, I agree, but I feel give me less trailer, give me less adverts in a cinema and give me more trailers in a cinema. I think that's also one of the biggest problems.
Different argument, but I'll listen to that all day long.
That obviously I understand where money's being made and money needs to make to what have you. But if you can give me before an Endgame, before an Avatar, before a Wakanda Forever, trailers, decent trailers, instead of just wishy-washing something that, well, we're doing it because that's our in-between project. You know, oh, this guy's got an 8-movie picture deal with us. So, yeah, you know, this is why Bill Nye's got a new movie out. No, give me something to invest in.
So I was about to mention Bill Nye. I actually thought Living looked like a really good trailer. And is anyone going to see it? Are they fun?
I was mixed on that one. But, you know, you take a small film like...
it was a shit film, in my opinion. But I'm glad that I took the time to actually go and see that in the cinema.
Best of luck to you, Rio Grande is the one film I feel like I took a chance on and it paid off well.
There you go.
That I feel paid off. But this is what you need. I need a trailer in front of it. Because if I'm looking at a poster or having to... There's that time you walk to a cinema, what we're going to watch. I shouldn't have to rely on having to YouTube this to show the girlfriend, oh, this is it. It should be, as you're sitting down, these are solid trailers ahead of the big blockbusters, which has attracted me for us to go, you know what? That's what we're catching next time. And it needs enough screenings for us to not miss it. And that's where the issue comes up. You need more.
So we're in a trinity of problems here because the superhero movies take up all the screenings, and the superhero movies as trailers are going to pump you with more superhero movies, blockbusters, and big IPs because that's the type of audience you are.
But you need to show.
You will not get independent art house movies playing in front of big blockbusters. It won't happen. That's where the audience needs to just realize that's the reality we live in. Take initiative and go out and actually watch movies and take a fucking risk.
Problem, bro. If that's all you know, this is where it comes down to ignorance is bliss. Yeah, you can't. If that's what you think is out there, oh, there's nothing else out there. The other one just looks too boring. It's the way you've been conditioned. It relies.
It's the way you've allowed yourself to be conditioned. Sure, bro. This is what I'm saying. It's got to a point now where we're fucking 4 phases into the MCU. No one's really enjoyed phase 4. Okay, cool. So what I've done to try and entertain myself is, look, we've gone and looked at Scottish movies. I've gone and looked at fucking 7 or 8 new movies in the space of the last week. How fucking great do I feel? I actually feel really good about it, right? I actually feel enriched from having watched movies like Ratcatcher, Morven Kala, Stone of Destiny, fucking My Name is Joe. I actually feel enriched. I don't feel that way after watching She-Hulk.
But this is the problem.
And this is why I actually think this isn't snobbery. This is me saying to people, try and ask more for yourself.
But do you know, I think
I know it's easy looking at the booms, bangs, and pretty colors, but just try and ask for a bit more.
Do you know who else is to blame? It is the studios again. Because let's take away the cinema part of it. What's that film you said had Matt Damon from the end of last year, which was like with him being a knight or what have you? Pump that higher on Disney Plus on the opening page. Let people know that there's a different angle of films out there.
They do. The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson's movie, was on the Disney Plus banner for months. Did you watch it?
No.
Point. They do. That's the point I'm making. The streaming services, Disney are actually especially good at it because they've got that sliding banner at the top. Whenever they have something on which is on like a Stars or like a non-IP movie, The Last Duel, fucking great film, and it was on the banner on Disney Plus.
Listen, for me,
that's how I found out about it. I'm like, no shit, this is on Disney Plus. Let me check that out.
A lot of these films happen because of this pod. Like this episode is a weekly running for me. And that's probably why I've not seen French Dispatch, because there's not the physical time to catch too many in between. But
you
anyway,
are in a very, very unique position because you have the podcast, and which by proxy, by the way, means you're not part of this criticism, because the very nature of the podcast means you have to watch new movies. So you, sir, are not part of the problem. I'm not having a dig at you here. This is shout out to cinema goers saying, listen, please continue to see those fucking Marvel movies, as will I. Do you know why? Because going back to your first point, AJ, they keep cinema doors open. It's a fact. Those movies are a necessity in the cinema industry. They keep the lights on. But in terms of what you choose to absorb, please, not you, AJ, audience, not you live screeners, not you live squad, because I know you do this, which is why you're on the live squad. Pod squad, VOD squad, I am begging you, look beyond the simplicity, and there's beauty in simplicity. I'm not having a dig. I enjoy them. I say this again. Request more. After seeing this, I've seen Francis Lalonde all night here going, oh, I'm going to add that to my Amazon. Add that to my Amazon. Do this shit. Listen to these movies we're suggesting and actually going to go, okay, fine. I'm not going to watch more than Color Ratcatcher and My Name is Joe. Watch one of them. Watch one of them and come back and tell me how you actually felt afterwards. Spoiler, I know it's depressed as hell, but did it actually make you feel something beyond the whole popcorn, I'm entertained, okay, brain off, I'm done? Movies are art, and art sometimes demands more of you than just, oh, look, pretty colors.
You know, again, and I don't want to drag this too much. You will get that answer from people. My life is hard enough. When I switch off to smile. You know,
and that's why these movies are so important. Okay, here's an example. Yeah. Do you know how often
lose people while we're on it, but go.
Do you know how often, you know, when we're in our group together and we're like, oh, this fucking country, the Tories, cunts, XYZ, fucking, you know, we find 1,000,001 things to complain about, yeah? We're actually fucking lucky to live here. And let me just break. Obviously, you know, we all know we have our rants here and there, but this is how grave it is. Will I watch, you know, a movie, you know, showing Boris Johnson up to be the fucking buffoon he was? Yes, happily. And I hope Adam McKay of The Big Short fame does that movie. I would watch that for days. But then you look at the World Cup at the moment, and it wasn't being broadcast in China. And then you ask, why? Why was this not being broadcast in China? Well, it just came out in the news, AJ. Some very clever spam hacker person, someone good with computers, found a stream to the World Cup and invited some friends over. And then they punched that out. Turns out China is still on mass lockdown. As in, when I say mass lockdown, I mean not allowed to leave their houses. I mean, everywhere you go has masks. I mean, people have been in burning buildings and died and prevented from coming out, such as the strictness of the lockdown. And then these motherfuckers have now seen the World Cup, and the whole world has opened up. The world is open again. Like the way COVID is still around, but we are very much treating like a pandemic. We're past that now. The whole email saying because of COVID is an excuse doesn't fly anymore. You know what I mean? China is seeing this shit. And I'm not talking about China, the country. I'm talking about the Chinese people, the people of China who have been essentially fucking lied to and controlled for the last 3 years, have now just got a feed into the outside world and realized, what?
It's a bit of the Truman Show, isn't it, really? Without being...
Bro, ain't it just? Like, you want to talk about control of population? Give me the Tories over that shit all day long. And fuck the Tories for reference, yeah? But give me that all day long. You talk about discrimination, which, you know, you've mentioned to me many a time you've sadly been on the receiving end of. One recently at you people at the boat, right?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers aren't allowed to be gay in Qatar. You know what I mean? Like, we're actually fucking lucky to live where we are.
We are.
So,
do you know what? I'm just going to put this up and then we will move on. Francis put this out, and I really like this. In college, there was a local revival theatre, a small venue, maybe 100 seats, used to show anything. They'd pass out request forms for patrons to fill out for the next week's films. Sounds kind of similar to like what we've got in the Prince Charles Theatre. I don't know, cinema. I don't know if we actually have request forms there. Never actually visited it. But do you know, I think that's where, you know, where you've got your views and what have you. I think there should be an independent cinema day. Something similar to that where you get a discounted rate to go to the cinema. You know, I'm not saying free because free doesn't pay, but £1 cinema. You know, like we got Cinema Day, something like that. But it doesn't entitle you to Black Adam. It doesn't entitle you to Avatar. It gives you My Name Is Joe. It gives you the Bill Nye film, the Anthony Hopkins film. Re-energize people's passion. Let them see what else is out there. Because you know what? Now it's £1. Now it's 50p. Now it's £2. You know, that's where we could hopefully rebuild it. But hey, View, Cineworld, Odeon, Picture House, Everyman, hell, even the Phoenix, I was going to say around the corner, I forgot I've moved. Those places, we need you guys to do that because these little voices just sadly, well, hopefully.
They're little voices.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, we proceed. Thank you guys for our tangent.
That was our number 3. My number 2 is the punt from earlier, Braveheart.
Look, I mean, I saw JT put it out that he doesn't like the movie or hates the movie. Like, I can't remember what the comment was.
I adore it.
I adore it. Ignore it. I saw it and I was like, there was a buzz in the way, and it's not your fault when you say this. There's a buzz in the selling of Braveheart versus what I had for what I finally got as an end result of Braveheart. You know, like 300 was, you need to see 300. I was like, oh fuck, I should have seen that in the cinema. Braveheart didn't give me that. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the film, but that's what was missing for me, and that's why Braveheart is always much lower for me than it is for you.
I've spoken about Braveheart a million and one times. Move on.
Right, in at number 2. Probably a punt, I'm guessing. But it's just for the sheer I haven't seen it in ages. And I really can't remember it properly. Trainspotting.
Nope, punt.
Okay, cool. I had a feeling that was the case. Right. Your worst.
Yeah. Before we move on with our worst, guys, please, for those of you watching us live, your Rushmores down below, your top 4, or indeed, if you want to do a top 10, go for it. Your 4 or 10 favorite Scottish films. Comment down below, starting now, and we will come back. We'll star them, and we'll just come back to them when we've done rounded off our individual lists. My worst, I couldn't even find a movie poster for that was in landscape format. It's a short film. It's only 15 minutes long. I watched it on the plane on the way back from Florida. It just happened to be there. I thought, fuck's this? I've never heard of this. Look at the synopsis. I'm like, oh, Scotland. Hey, gonna get a fucking Scottish movie in there. Oh, this pile of shit.
What is it, bro? Because I can't even think of it.
It's called The Last Mermaid.
For a man who loves underwater, you always seem to find these weird fish films that just don't work out.
Fuck fish film, bro. This is some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen. I don't know how, in the space of 14-15 minutes, you successfully bore me to infinity and beyond, and somehow try and say so much, and it's fucking crickets the whole time. So they've essentially, in the space of a very, very short film, tried to adopt mermaid lore, and we center on this woman. I can't even remember her fucking name. She is the last mermaid because the big newspaper article comes out and it's like, the last mermaid has just died. And she's like, no, I'm the last mermaid. And then all of her friends are, and it turns out she's like this middle-aged fat mermaid. Think of like if Ariel had an eating disorder and a cigarette addiction, right? That's kind of what we've got.
I don't really want to body shame, but we're saying Ursula's the last mermaid, right? We're going down that route.
Kind of down that route, yes. Spot on. And she's become a webcam sex worker, if that makes sense, because people get off on seeing mermaids apparently in this weird world that we've created in 15 minutes. You get what I mean? You're trying to get me to swallow a lot here in the space of a short time, and I'm not buying it.
Only fins, yeah.
Only fins. Only fins and horses, mate. And Then her friend who works in the fucking supermarket. So it's like, sorry, who the fuck are you to give life advice to a mermaid? But okay, we're going to give life advice to a mermaid. No, you need to reproduce, you know, it's not right. You're going to be the last of your kind. And I'm like, we're doing mermaid reproduction now. Okay. And then they do this weird thing where she's like, but I can only mate under the full moon. And she's like, right, well, it's the full moon coming up. And so they're trying to arrange some of her cameras to come and pork her during the full moon so that she can get pregnant to not be the last mermaid. And she kind of goes through this interview process of who should I allow to pork me to make little baby man mermaids or mermen or they men. Merthems. I don't fuck it. Merthems is quite good actually.
She's merman according to Zoolander though.
But like yeah, the final scene is her it's her coming under the fucking full moon, and it's like it has to be done in the water, and it's just a shot of the water of her going, oh me dear, oh me dear. And I'm like, what am I watching, motherfucker? And then the credits roll as if to say, yay, it's not going to be a last mermaid. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. What am I watching?
You win. You categorically win. You win when it comes to worst this week.
The full moon got Nico. You're fucking right, it got me. But it's the weirdest shit I've seen for a long time. It's fucked up. And it's not fucked up in a way. That's a fucked up idea. It's fucked up in a way. It's just a bad movie. It's badly acted. It's badly paced. Prince Namor and the Last Sex Worker. Yeah, literally. Sin Namor. Exactly that. Bro.
Fucking hell. Wow. Okay. Oh, bro. I wish I had something that bad. This is a film I felt needed the same way I believe The Angel's Share needs another revisit from me. I feel this film was just.
And Billy Mount, I adored Namor, the best villain we've had since Thanos. Carry on, AJ.
I can't comment. Not seen it yet. This film. This film, I don't know how I feel about it. I just felt it dragged, and it's funny enough got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's what kills me about this because I thought I was really for a treat.
I know where you're going. Carry on.
This one, my friend, is called Local Hero.
Okay, it's not the one I thought.
Which one?
Is the one? I know where I'm going, and it's also got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Set in the Hebrides from 1945, and I tuned out halfway through. I was like, I've tried 45 minutes. Took me 3 nights to get through. I was like, I'm bored. I'm done.
This was kind of the thing. Like I stumbled across it, and I shouldn't really get into it, but I had the opportunity to have more time today, and I was cramming films in for this one, right? Like because of work, I was doing it at some mad hours, and I woke up today and realized I didn't. Due to circumstances which I'm not going to disclose here, but I wasn't going in, and I was like, I'm going to watch it. And having gone to bed at like 3 a.m, this was not the film to try and watch. It just felt like it dragged. I recognize this guy, and I apologize because I can't remember his name right now. He is the detective in The Mask. Do you know his name? He's the one who's trying to catch Stanley Ipkiss for Jim Carrey.
Oh, that knob. Okay.
Okay, right. I can't even remember his name, but he's the main guy in it. And basically, he works for this oil tycoon in Texas, and they're being sent because his surname sounds Scottish to go and buy out everyone in this small island, right? Buy them all out, and they can make their oil reservoir, whatever they want to do. But along the way, he starts to find appreciation for all the quirky people that live on the island. And they want to sell because they want more from life, but he's now started to appreciate what it is. And that's essentially the key story of it. You can see where it's going, that he's getting on with. I just couldn't get into it. It didn't have comedy to it. It didn't have anything. I just felt like it was lacking. It was just this story that I felt just wasn't getting to the end. And I'm like, look, it's 100%, and it's not. Look, the Wee Man made my list, and that's got like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't judge.
Actually,
yeah, some stuff don't have the best scores from a critic, but it doesn't. I don't know why I let it judge me. Sometimes I'm like, now I know what I'm going to do for a worse, and then you find yourself enjoying it. It's weird sometimes. I don't. The score doesn't judge, but it sometimes leaves like, oh my god, this is one to see, and I just felt like it's not giving me anything. But I feel like I need to give it another shot because maybe the timing was wrong. But it just didn't lead to anything to me, and that's why the local hero just wasn't for me. Yeah,
you haven't inspired me to watch it. But if you would like to give 14 minutes of your time to The Last Mermaid, have at it.
The bus ride between home and the train station.
Literally. Fucking hell. All right, man. Well, my best, I just punted it. This isn't going to come as a surprise to many people. My favorite Scottish movie, it was number one before I saw all these other movies, and it stayed number one. Trainspotting. It's still nearly 20 years on now, and this film, it's still a fucking whirlwind. It's such a cold yet somehow gracefully comedic take on smack addiction, and it really doesn't pull any punches. Everything from, you know, the banter they have of BB gunning dogs in the park, all the way up to fucking dead babies in the pram. It's dead babies in the cot, which now, by the way, I don't think I could sit through.
You know the funny thing about Trainspotting, right? And again, I wanted to do 1 and 2. 1996.
2 is fucking great. I'd just like to take a note on that. 2 is a great film.
1996. I was legitimately 11 when this came out, and that's the last one I watched. Yeah, maybe 12, depending on when the VHS came out. Britannia Video, God bless that company. Like, it was once or twice, and I remember it's number 2. It's number 2 because it left a lasting impression. But for me to be able to tell you scene for scene, I remember thinking about it. Like, again, going back to Rent and, you know, sitting on the toilet and all that stuff. You think, oh, what kind of wacky film is this going to be? Some of the stuff I remember seeing, again, going back to the baby and the heroin, like, it goes deep and dark, man. And,
you shouldn't have been watching this at 12. Fuck me.
Listen, mate, when the VHS is there and your grandmother falls asleep, the amount of stuff you can get away with is unnatural. She didn't even know what it was, God bless her soul. You know, she's just, oh, okay, they're going to go watch a film. Good night, kids. Yeah, right. Check the certificates, grandma. But that was the thing. And, you know, again, Robert Carlyle, I think before this, I recognized him from flipping Ballykiss Angel.
Robert Carlyle, Ewan Bremer, Kevin McKidd, like there's the re-siphons. There's so many fucking good actors in this film.
I'm just saying, but when you look at it, because a lot of these, this was like first intro. Now you can quote their names as who they were. But I remember Ewan McGregor, I think it was it Ballykiss Angel? Used to come on BBC One after freaking EastEnders or something. Like, you're like, oh, he's in it. It can't be that bad. Fuck me, you're wrong. Like, wow, it takes a turn. It takes a turn, man.
It's an incredible film, AJ. The fact that you haven't watched it in so long, you need to actually put this at the top of your rewatch list.
Bro, it's on the list as it's going to be a duology, and literally, I was just like, I just want to just do it in one go, but time just escaped me, just evaded me.
Trainspotting 2 shocked me with how good it was. Like, it had no business being that good. Yes, again, it's Irvin Welsh. It's based on his second book, Porno, and obviously, if you call it Porno, it's not going to get the cinema numbers that Trainspotting 2 got. So I get why they called it Trainspotting 2. But Jesus Christ, it was a good film. Like, shocked me. Had no business, given that it came out like 15 years after the original. There was no furor to see it. And then you watch it and it's like, oh, you're actually very good. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. It's
some films that have that gap between first film and sequel. You know, wow. Yeah.
You must rewatch Trainspotting, AJ. It is. I'll go as far as to say that Trainspotting and equally probably Braveheart, I don't think should be on the Rushmore.
But do you know what? And here's the God's honest truth, yeah? Maybe Trainspotting 2 may have made it in, but because Braveheart and Trainspotting were such givens, yeah? They were such givens. I actually wanted 2 more films, yeah? There was another film I've got, like The Decoy Bride. There was no way I was going to make it. Like, I would have been cussed, and deservedly so. But I actually wanted 2 solid films, and there's one film that is on my list, and it hurt me so bad. Trainspotting's your number 1, so I could say it. It's called Sweet 16. Reading the story behind that sounds.
I've heard of this.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, but mate, you're not going to find even Braveheart's not going to beat Trainspotting. Like,
no. But what I'm saying is, if I could have got Sweet 16 and one more film, neither of them would have made the top 10. That was like my mission
To get Braveheart and Trainspotting off.
Yeah.
Bro, I tried. And listen, My Name is Joe and Ratcatcher really fucking gave me food for thought. But at the end, I was like, it's Braveheart and Trainspotting. I can't fight what's not to be fought, you know?
Yeah.
It can't be done. And yeah, JT here is saying Trainspotting is definitely the best Scottish movie. Nothing comes close. The soundtrack is one of the best ever. It is.
Listen, I'm not here to fight the obvious, you know.
This is what I'm saying. Like, Trainspotting is Trainspotting. It is possibly the greatest British film ever made. Possibly. It's better than Snatch.
Shut up. No, I'm joking. No, if you're talking, if you're talking on a grounded movie with some like it's mad. But
I'm talking about how well it's made as a movie. Trainspotting is a better movie than Snatch.
Again, you're talking to someone who watched it at 12 versus like one of my favorite films of all time. But I'm not going to dispute you. You know, it's something I always say each time Trainspotting comes up. I need to rewatch it. Just really.
Yes, you do. Yes, you really do.
Yeah. I might do two duologies in one day. Trainspotting 1 and 2 and Top Gun 1 and 2, just all in one go.
Fuck off, JT. I see you behind Shaun of the Dead. Yeesh.
That's not in Scotland, is it? Thank fuck.
No, but best British movie ever. Man, Behind Shaun of the Dead. Stop it, JT. I love you. Don't do me dirty like this tonight.
Right. Had I revisited Trainspotting, it may have been number 1. This film, I landed across on Netflix, and it's the way it started, and it just caught me. Like I was just watching it, and I thought, okay, what's going to happen in this film? Bang! It caught me with one moment, and then the film really picks up when it does. Caliber. Have you seen it?
Oh, Stephen King.
Bro, the ending. Now that without even looking, I didn't know it was Stephen King, right? Now the ending makes sense because it's the ending that pissed me off on this film, which kind of made me think that I want it to be number 1. You've got 2 friends who are going on a lads trip, hunting essentially, and they end up in this kind of remote town in Scotland. They're Scottish themselves, but it's just this really quiet town where I don't want to call it ancestral, but everyone knows each other. The pub is really quiet. Everyone knows each other, and you've got 2 friends who are. One you could tell is a bit more of a hype man than the other one. The hype man, and then the second guy he's soon to be a dad. He's engaged. His girlfriend, his fiance is pregnant. But it's their last hurrah kind of thing. It's not a stag, but it's just their last hurrah before he really settles down. And they go up on this trip, and something happens while they go on their hunting trip. I don't want to spoil it. But with that becomes a test of friendship and the extent of what you need to do in order to survive this town where everybody knows each other and you're not familiar with this area. Put it that way. There's a lot of fuck ups in the way. As I said, the main guy ends up like hooking up with this guy who you could tell runs stuff around town. He ends up hooking up with this guy's daughter. Thank you, Gavin. And like they're hooked up. He gets her on coke and shit and has a wild night with her. So you know, there are reasons why they didn't like this guy in the first place. What happens after really triggers something. And I remember watching this film at first. I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. What happens in the forest makes you go, oh fuck. And the story begins from there. And it's a lot of plot twists and turns and sacrifices and choices of should you do that, should you not do that. And it caught me. I was really into it. I don't want to spoil it because I was talking to my mate John about it. Come again?
It's on Netflix, yeah?
It's on Netflix, it's there. I was talking to my mate John about it. And I was like, have you seen it? And I was like, I was bored at first. Not bored, but just taking in the film of where's it going to go. As that moment happened, you know, that kind of, you sit back. You sit back and you say, oh, hello. Did that just happen? Did I just see what happened? And from there, the plot builds up.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's nice. I don't want to say anything because the minute you say it, I want you, because I have a feeling you might get the same reaction I did. So if I say it, I then go into the rest of the story, you know? Whereas if you just watch this film and you think, oh, okay, yeah. It felt like a Batman jump scare. You know the Batman game when it had that, oh, fuck. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Fucking Joker, cunt. Right, so we've only had Gavin and Jen send in top 10s or Rushmores here, so still got a moment.
I'm sure I saw Francis do it.
I haven't seen Francis send in one. If so, Francis, I apologize. I haven't started. Pedro, I see you. JT as well. Please send in your Rushmores or your top 10 so we can read those out as well. And I'm just scrolling back up to Francis.
I thought I did.
Billy Mount, you too, mate. If you've got a top 4 or a top 10 Scottish movies that you want to pitch, please go for it.
Why did I think I saw this?
Oh,
no, yeah,
Pedro,
did say no.
Sorry, I've got Pedro's. Sorry, Pedro, I've seen yours now. Francis, top 10 fish fuck films. Has that become canonical now? My description of bloody.
You got Pedro's, yeah? Or do I need to star it for you?
I got Pedro's. Okay. No Rushmore this week from Francis. Pedro, I got you. Wheeler JT just says number 1 Gregory's girl.
Do you know what? Out of interest, JT, what did you find inspiring about it? As I said, for me, it was just.
He had a crush on the main girl.
Oh, fair enough.
Literally said it earlier.
Okay. Fair enough. In which case, that kind of makes a bit of sense. Yeah.
So what we've got from Gavin, we've got number 10, Ned's, number 9, Our Ladies, 8, Dear Frankie, 7, Shallow Grave, which I wish I'd made time to see, 6, Gasman, 5, Filth, 4, Trainspotting, 2, 3, Wild Rose, 2, My Name is Joe, 1, Angel's Share. And Jen went, I took Scottish very liberally and in all aspects. The Last King of Scotland, Braveheart, Trainspotting, Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, which equally I wish
I heard about that as well, actually.
Me too. And Pedro Santos says, Trainspotting, My Name is Joe, Wild Rose, Braveheart. So
there's a Sid James movie called The Big Whopper. I tried everything to find that film. It's basically meant to be like a bit of a comedy about these people who fake a viewing of the Loch Ness Monster. It sounded gold, and I felt like, if you're going to do Scotland, but couldn't find one, man. So.
Then the text says, sorry, can't think of any. Okay, cool. So AJ, are you cool for the purpose of the Rushmore this week? Let's just not put Trainspotting and Braveheart on, because
I'm down with that. Right?
In the words of a wise man, duh.
My thing behind it, it's what, as you said, the film viewing audience versus the Twitter audience are two very different things. Like, I would love to put these films out there. I'm hoping that they can be related to. At least by having these clear winners, there is at least something to get a vote for. I'm down for it the other way, though. I'm out to edutain, we just had a big.
I think we need to double down on the edutaining this week.
I'm down for that.
Let's do it. JT, apologies. This poll may not get many votes because I don't think people are going to be that familiar with these movies. But no Trainspotting and Braveheart.
So I'm very much down to say Filth and My Name is Joe were both on the list.
Yes.
See, Pedro asked the question of Trainspotting 2, which I think could have made it, but it's not on either list, so it can't happen. My guys,
I need a Lynn Ramsey. I need a Lynn Ramsey movie.
As per Pedro's request, you guys have got to vote. Start putting down what you think should be the. Sorry.
Gavin, man, yeah.
Cool. To JT as Keira Knightley as to AJ. God bless that woman. Oh boy.
Fucking perv.
No. Oh, nothing. Okay.
Oh, tell me if you saw Keira Knightley in Sin City. Big man, tell me if you saw Keira Knightley in that Sin City scene, you wouldn't be the happiest man on the planet.
Does that make me a perv?
I'm a perv. I own it. Give me Jessica Alba on the table dance any day of the fucking week, and I'm happy for life.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Lynn Ramsey needs to be in this discussion.
Well, considering I've seen neither film, I'll let you pick.
Ratcatcher's the better movie, so let's go with that.
Do you know what? You see now.
Filth should be in here.
What's in there, bro? Filth and My Name is Joe, the first two. Now here's the down to the screeners for the last vote. But I feel, as it's in honor of 001, the Platinum Man himself.
Yeah, I
And
agree with that.
I think the Angel's Share should be number 1. Number 4, sorry.
The
Right,
Angel's Share, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was Gavin Mann's number 1, yeah?
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's fair. This episode was for him, and St. Andrew's Day, which falls tomorrow. Oh, and Pedro agrees, so we're good there. JT has said top 5: Gregory's Girl, Trainspotting, Angel Share. There you go. Under the Skin, Local Hero. Oh,
what Local Hero?
Uh-huh.
Bro, as I said, it's the way I just felt like I've indulged it wrong. Like I literally went to bed at 3 a.m. last night, woke up for work, found out I didn't have to go to work. And I was like, okay, let me try and squeeze another film in. And I was like half falling asleep, and I just felt like it was dragging. Whereas other films were like, yeah, hitting me.
Have you got the name of the 4 movies then for the Rushmore?
I do indeed. Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official Movie Mount Rushmore of Scottish movies, in no particular order, is...
Gavin's with me with Local Hero. Filth. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's fine. You can do it in that order if you wish.
Yeah.
Our second entry is...
My name is Joe.
Our third entry is...
Ratcatcher.
Our final entry into the Movie Mount Rushmore of Scottish movies is...
The Angel's Share. And at this point, Gavin has unsubscribed and will never listen to us again because we've done some of the worst.
Aye, these fucking southern fairies, man.
Fucking Glasgow kiss. Yeah. Okay.
That was.
Do you know what? It's been fun. I'll be honest. It's been a tight time in terms of getting them together.
Right.
But I had a really, really enjoyable eye opener into a new world of cinema. Like,
yep.
We could talk. Like, it sounds stupid, right? But we talk about the Korean movies and the French movies, the Brazilian movies, and okay, France isn't too far. But Scotland is our freaking neighbor. It's the one country we can go to without having to like get on a boat or anything. You know, you can physically drive there.
Don't forget about the dim lane, AJ.
I was going to say that.
My little spider head friend.
But yeah, it's one of the few countries where we can do that. And yeah, like we've never actually taken the time. And that's the weird bit. So for anyone who's in Brazilian movies are coming. I'll put that up. When's Brazil? We'll find like maybe around the time of Brazilian Carnival. That might be a good time to.
The Rio Carnival, yeah. Could do that. It's a good shout.
Yeah,
very good shout actually.
For anyone who's watching from abroad, it's weird that for you guys who just see the UK as the UK, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, right? We have not taken the time to appreciate Scottish cinema. It's weird as fuck. You know, you could take your Douglas Scotts, your Robert Carlyle's, your Sean Connery's. Like we've seen them in English and American films, but how often have we appreciated them in Scottish movies like that? It's weird. It's just not true. So yeah, I'm very happy to have done that.
It's been a really good episode. Up next, we are going to do Welsh movies. Oh, we fuck. Next year. Next year. I need a break.
When Sheets Attacks Volume 1 to 10.
Are we agreeing, AJ, that next week it's movies with a number in the title?
Do you know what? I was going to ask you what it was.
It's either that or artificial intelligence, whichever you feel more comfy with.
Maybe let's go with AI. Just
AI, you got it.
Numbers in the title. Yeah, let's do that.
We've only got 3 more. We've only got 3 more weeks before this season wraps, which is fucking crazy.
Absolutely insane.
It's been a good season, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. And we thank you guys, man. We thank you guys because it's been crazy. You know, we tested the 100 episodes online with you guys. Between 100 and 200 just felt like a freaking
blur, right? Like a fucking blur.
How did it take so long to do 1 to 100? But what 100 to 200 was like, hi,
like that.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dude, so much shit happened between 100 to 202. Like the lives changed, you know, like it's crazy. Yeah. So
this won't include 2011 in a. Yeah, maybe. I'll have to check that out. Oh, 2001.
Must be 2001 A Space Odyssey. Not in a rush.
We'll see. Okay, guys. So thank you very much. And once again, do head on over to the man. I'm gonna put up one of his posts right now just to shout him out one more time. There is this guy right here, the man himself, Mr. We Love Movies, JT. Yeah, movie polls for you. Head on over to that Twitter because that's the person who we will be retweeting, and that's where you get to vote for the best Scottish movie. And yeah, we'll be announcing that next week. So again, at Movie MT Rushmore for the Silver Screen Dudes, but more importantly, movie polls for you at We Love Movies with good old JT. And yeah, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next week. And also, Nico, any more plugs, bro?
Yeah. It's been a blessed one, guys. Remember, if you do like the show and you do like the content that we bring you, it's sort of 2 to 3 hours each week. We do put our heart and souls and comedy hats, or at least attempted comedy hats, into this. If you like what we're doing, make like Jen and head on over to buymeacoffee.com/movie dudes. And literally, you can support the channel on any level that you feel comfortable with. Makes us happy, keeps us ticking away, makes us work towards something, which is buying a new streaming service so that we can make everything look pretty and crazy neat for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're there soon. But guys, it's been real. That's it from us. Artificial intelligence next week. We hope to see you all back there soon. So I'm Nico Lurot.
We out. I'm the one AJ. We out.
Hey.
See ya.